What a day. What a day, folks. I mean, I don't know if we have had a more exciting day in the stock market, particularly for AI. We've definitely had some crazy days this year, but when it comes to AI updates, what a day. What a day. Ladies and gentlemen, the most valuable company on the planet, Nvidia, $200. Not only did it break 200, it was 198 when Tanner and I finished our GTC stream. It's at 203. Well, it hit 203. Right now it's at 201. I mean, my goodness, dude. There's a lot to analyze, a lot to talk about today. We got a bunch to get into. And so we will get into all that. Not to mention we got a bunch of earnings. So in the next 15 minutes, we will have a ton of earnings to look through, all the results on those earnings. And then after those earnings, we'll get into more of what happened today. You got Palantir right here back to 190. Tesla up 1.63%. Robinhood touched 148 right now at 147. SoFi, nice recovery. Fell all the way to 28, right back to 31.50. So getting a $31 close, which looks like will happen in the next 10 minutes, is definitely going to be productive. AMD slightly flat on the day. And then you got the S&P 500 that did hit 688.91. Obviously being helped by Nvidia. Apple also hit 4 trillion at one point. It's losing 4 trillion now. It was at 4 trillion about 2 hours ago, 269 right here. And then Microsoft is holding 4 trillion. Microsoft started off the day by saying they officially have a 27% stake in OpenAI. That's a $135 billion equity stake. And that kind of started a bunch of the announcements that we got today, kind of capping it off with NVIDIA basically making the moves that everyone was waiting for NVIDIA to officially make. That was set today. Now, why is NVIDIA down? There's a lot to analyze, a lot to go through. We're going to talk about what's happening with NVIDIA. The number one thing for everyone to remember, and yes, we will watch the Karp Jensen interview. I want to watch the full interview, but we're going to get through earnings. And so after earnings, I'll play the entire clip. It's about 11 minutes. You guys can watch it. If you really want to watch it right now, it's on my Twitter. Twitter's in the description. So if you want to leave the stream right now, go watch the interview first. It's on Twitter. But we will watch it all together after earnings. NVIDIA guided. I don't want to say formally guided, but Jensen said it on stage. So I guess the street is taking it in as formal of a way as you can imagine. $500 billion of revenue over not the next 6 quarters. Apparently, it's over the next 5 quarters, which really changes things. And I think when that clarification was announced, that is when the stock really started getting a move. When he said 500 billion, it went from 193 to 196. And then over the past hour, when it was clarified that he meant 5 quarters, we bumped up to 200. By the way, that is excluding China revenue. Jensen said it would be very nice to get China revenue, but my forecast of 500 billion over the next 5 quarters has nothing to do with China revenue. On top of that, the other thing that's really important about this is Jensen basically said the trajectory for us to be able to get to this revenue growth is sustainable, and the street has them at 380 billion. So you're talking about a $120 billion increase in what the street was expecting over the next 5 quarters. And as a result, you got NVIDIA right here pumping 5%. NVIDIA has added 250 billion market cap to its overall valuation today. What Jensen said on China was, quote, a return to China would be a huge bonus for NVIDIA. I assume the China market will remain at 0 for now. I'm confident Trump will reach a good deal with China. The U.S. needs a lot more energy to sustain industry growth. The AI sector is not in a bubble. It represents a $500 billion opportunity over the next 5 quarters. So, I mean, look, should we be trimming our positions? You know, Tanner asked that question a couple hours ago. I mean, I don't want to sound super euphoric, right? And like, and I get that all of us sound super excited right now because we're all bulled up and we got all these big announcements. But I mean, if this is a $500 billion opportunity and the street has them at 380, I think NVIDIA is going higher. Remember, NVIDIA is still one of the more undervalued tech companies that's out there when you look at them on a forward earnings basis. If NVIDIA was trading at anywhere near its actual valuation, I think Tanner has them around 245 to 250. You could say, oh, that's an appropriate valuation for NVIDIA, and it wouldn't be more expensive than or more as cheap as Walmart or Costco. I don't know about the forward projections right now. I have to look at them, but Walmart and Costco, as of yesterday, were still more expensive than NVIDIA, which is insanity given they're not growing at those levels. Microsoft right there, that's up 2%. Palo Alto, that's up 0.74%. Then CrowdStrike is also up right here, 3% all-time high. So from that perspective, I don't think NVIDIA is a sell. I don't think AMD is a sell. I don't think Broadcom's a sell. I think all these semiconductors are moving with each other. Also, we got rate cuts coming tomorrow. Broadcom, look at that, all-time highs at 374. That one's moving as well. And if you got rate cuts coming, along with a potential melt up, I mean, there is a world where this thing really gets exciting. Then I just don't think it's the easiest sell at these levels. 5 trillion is going to be at 204. 204, we're at 4.901 trillion on Nvidia. And we are not at 5 trillion yet. Now, why are the data center plays selling off? Honestly, I don't really know. I mean, look, they had a bit of a pump in the morning. One could argue, and maybe someone has a better reason than I have, but my sort of logical reason here is that people are selling some of these plays to pile into Nvidia. I mean, Grab was at freaking 620 in the morning. Now it's at 593. Reddit was at 220. Now it's at 214. Google was at 270. Now 260. I mean, you got a lot of names that are just selling off potentially because people are rotating and they just want more liquidity to be able to buy things like an Nvidia or any of the companies that Nvidia mentioned, which, by the way, you got the CrowdStrike mentioned, you got the Uber mentioned, you got the Nebius Core we've mentioned, even though those are more data center plays and that's why they're more volatile today. And you finally got the Palantir mentioned. We are going to be talking about that after these earnings. Palantir 189.75. Jensen and Karp finally were seen together for the first time in a couple of years, actually talking about their new partnership. There they are together right there on CNBC. We're going to listen to that later, but it is really cool to see that happening. And I kind of think Jensen was like Santa Claus today, and he kind of helped talk about every single company that could benefit in the overall AI stack. And that's why you see Nvidia getting some momentum. I mean, if we close above 200, that would be bullish. Yes, we're not at 203. Maybe we don't close at 201. If we can just get even like a 198, 199 close, I think would be amazing. But it looks like the street has some momentum to close it above 200. There were 1 million shares waiting to be sold at 200. So tons of buying pressure coming in. 262 million shares of volume today. 158 million is the average. So you got a lot more people coming in today. Broccoli said red going into FOMC may be a good thing. I agree. You don't want to be all bulled up before FOMC. You want a little bit of a pullback so that FOMC gives you some room to run. And then tomorrow we are going to get FOMC, which is going to be important. All right. So what earnings do we have? We'll talk a lot more about AI and all the announcements of AI as we get into the earnings. So earnings will probably be from like 4 to 420. We should get all the numbers and then we'll get back to AI. Bookings today: Visa, Enphase, Mondelez, Seagate, Bloom Energy, EA, Cheesecake, and then a few more companies. Let me know in the chat if anyone owns any of the names that you're seeing right here on the screen. And we are going to try to get as many of those numbers that we can. Why else do people think data centers are dumping? Because, I mean, again, my reason is probably not the best, that people are selling to buy more Nvidia, because technically data center plays if you're excited for Nvidia, right? So I don't know. I mean, you could also chalk it up to algos. I know people hate hearing that response, but a lot of them ran together. They might be just getting sold off together, which is not that crazy. Again, all of these stocks are up a lot this year. So, you know, every time they get sold off, it's just important to remember they are up a ton, and there's always going to be people that potentially want to take some profits, especially if they see a little bit of the downside action. Let's do a poll right here in the chat. I'm going to pick 4 of these names. Which one do you think outperforms in the after hours? We got Visa, Cheesecake. Let's do Booking, and let's put Enphase up there. Which one do you think outperforms in the after hours? Neo, the robot company, they are officially selling robots today for $20,000. That was another big piece of news, which is another catalyst for Nvidia, because at the end of the day, robots are going to be powered with these chips. Here is the video that they put out today showing that these robots are officially for sale.
My name is Bernd, and today we're launching Neo, our humanoid for the home.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
The audio, bro. The audio. Okay, so we can't play the song, but there is Neo. It's going to be $20,000. And no, it's not the car company, NEO. Look, I mean, it's exciting, right? More humanoid robots. Obviously, this is the revolution a lot of people have been waiting for. I wonder how productive it's going to be in the home. Can it actually do a ton of stuff? Can it actually, you know, wash the dishes and do the laundry? If so, and if it's actually 20,000 early access or $500 a month, if it actually is legit, I mean, one, like really legit, not just BS legit, but really, I mean, one could argue what the hell is going on with Tesla? What the hell is going on with Figure? What's going on with Aptronic, right? All these guys are talking about this humanoid robot revolution. Brett Adcock, CEO of Figure, was at GTC today. If this Neo company, which I don't know much about, but if they're launching these robots and they're like legit, I don't know. It's going to, you know. Now, granted, I think Brett and Tesla are going for industrial use cases like in Amazon and Walmart, et cetera, not just like only being in the home. At least that's what they publicly said. That's one of the core things they want to focus on. I don't know if that Neo thing is going to be able to work inside of an Amazon factory, but it is heating up. It is absolutely heating up. Cheesecake is Cheesecake Factory. Cheesecake Factory is going to be one of the stocks that has earnings today. Now, Amazon as well. Speaking of Amazon, broke through 231 today. I think the layoff announcement from yesterday, along with general AWS growth, that is getting baked into some of the assumptions, especially because OpenAI said they were going to buy $250 billion of Azure services today. So overall bullish for the cloud, even if Amazon's not getting that revenue. That could be bullish. And I think that's why Amazon's getting a bit of a pump. But obviously, big tech earnings tomorrow is really going to tell us what is playing out. Neo is not a Chinese company, I think. Is Neo Robot? I don't think they're Chinese. There's a bunch of humanoid robot companies that are Chinese. No, it's from 1X Technologies. It's Norwegian. This company is Norwegian. Yeah, founded in Norway in 2014. Okay, so this one is not a Chinese company, but they do have a robot that officially is out there. Where's PayPal? We got 4 minutes till the market closes. Wow, PayPal lost a lot of juice. It was up 15%, now only up 4%. Robinhood selling off a little bit right there. It was at 148, now at 146. S&P still holding strong. Got a bit of a red candle from 688, but 687 will be great on the close. SoFi, I think a 3150 close people wouldn't be too sad about. And then Nvidia, $200 close would be very, very excited. I mean, how do we feel, dude? Nvidia 200. When Tanner and I were live, we were just staring at it, thinking it might have a shot to get there. And then we closed the stream and we stayed on for like 10 more minutes and we're talking and it was at 198. And we were like, all right, we're going to see. And then like literally, I think 10 minutes later, boom, busted through 200. And this was one of the best GTCs I've ever seen. I think I've watched 3 of them over the past year. This was the best one due to the scale of partnerships that they announced. Another big partnership that Jensen talked about was the DOE. So they now have 7 new supercomputers they're going to be building with the Department of Energy. Same thing that AMD announced yesterday. It was a $1 billion partnership. Jensen announced that they're going to be investing even more with the DOE. So it just looks like a lot more partnerships, a lot more growth trajectory that's baked into NVIDIA, and a ton of different companies that they're going to be working with to develop this entire AI ecosystem. And all I can say is thank you to DeepSeek for giving us the dip. Without that, we would not have had, or at least I wouldn't have, and I think a lot of people here would not have had the opportunity to develop a position. So there you go. Amid the entire company stopped working near that 200. Yeah, I was on the phone with one of my friends who he was, he's big into Palantir, and he was like watching the stream and he was on the phone with the client, and he's trying to like just talk to the client and like get the client to like go away and like handle whatever. But then he sees, like Jensen mentioned, Karp, and he loses it. Like he's not able to focus on the client. And I think that was all of us. It was very, very hard to focus on anything else today with the amount of announcements we got. And obviously the Palantir announcement was also a big deal. This was my face as soon as it happened. It was finally, after 4 years, it happened. But it happened. And so pretty exciting day. Pretty exciting day. All right, here we go. We got 40 seconds until the market closes. We got a lot of earnings, so I will try my best to get through all the numbers, and we will try to cover every single company after the earnings. So give us about 20 minutes, then we'll get back into Jensen, Karp, AI, all the stuff that has happened today. And we'll keep going from there. But let me know which of these stocks you own in the chat. We got a bunch of them that are coming up for today. I don't have a position in any of them, and so I do have Visa in the stock draft. But these are the names that we have, and we're going to look at what we've got once we get these results. All right, here we go. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It is Tuesday, October 28th, 4 p.m., one of the, I would argue, biggest days for AI this entire the stock market is now closed. All right, we are done for the day. Here we go. Nvidia, she gets the $200 close. She gets the $200 close, 201.20 for Nvidia. Absolutely incredible to see. Robinhood gets the 146 close. Palantir gets 189. Tesla, not sure why Tesla ran today, but Tesla did run up 1.8%, 460. So not too bad. Even after those earnings, Tesla was able to make a move. I mean, there was some Nvidia Uber partnership that was announced. Every GTC, Jensen talks about self-driving cars, and then Tesla sells off, and then they don't really do much with that partnership for whatever they announce at GTC. So I think Tesla sold off a little bit, but then it recovered. 460 right there on Tessie. Google down about 0.5% grab. I think the price action was really stupid. I did buy more shares today. I just think this is getting dumb, and I think it's getting manipulated left and right. Like, you can't tell me it's at 620 at 930 and then it drops. I just think they need a really good earnings to get the shorts out of the stock, and unfortunately, the shorts are still in the stock. So we're going to see. Next Monday is going to be a big day for grab. Hopefully, earnings can change the narrative. But right now, I do think it's getting manipulated left and right, and that's why that stock took a hit today. Amcor, by the way, not a horrible recovery. This thing fell to 28, got back to 32.16. It was at 33 yesterday. So Jensen said a bunch of good things about American manufacturing of semiconductors. That was also super bullish for Amcor. Salesforce, that was down a little bit on the day. PayPal was up 4% after being up 15%. Elf was up 4%. Apple up slightly on the day. Amazon up 1%. Meta basically flat. Bitcoin from 116 to 113. That's down. Ethereum, wow. Ethereum almost might lose 4,000. Bitmine right there, 52.58. That was down 2% on the day. All right, earnings. Let's get into it. What do we got? What do we have? Bookings. We got a green candle on bookings. That is up. Bloom Energy, also a green candle. That is up. I will try to get these numbers in just a second. So far, I see bookings and Bloom Energy get a beat. Seagate, a little bit red. Cheesecake, basically flat. Visa flat. And then Enphase, a little bit of a green candle as well. But no official numbers yet. Yeah, stock's 5,000. I mean, some of these stocks love having these large share prices. I guess they don't care about the volatility because, as you know, the stock would split, they would have a lot more volatility, but I guess not. I guess they want to keep it the way it is. All right, so what are we looking for earnings? Even if you don't own these names, we're looking for beats on the top and the bottom. More importantly, the top. More importantly, the top. If we can, or sorry, the bottom, the EPS. If we can beat on EPS, that means margins are increasing, and that is better for companies. Bookings, beats on the top and the bottom, 4% and 3%. 4% on EPS, 3% on revenue. EPS is up 19% year over year. Revenue is up 13% year over year. Revenue $9 billion versus 8.73. EPS 99.50 versus 95.92. That is why bookings is getting a bit of a move right there. So you have a top and the bottom beat. And let's see if we can go 10 for 10 on earnings today. And all these companies can beat top and the bottom. Would be very, very nice to see. Next one. Let's see if we can pull this up. This stock is, I don't have this on the list, but CoStar. I don't know if anyone owns this one. This is CSGP. It looks like they have a beat on the top and the bottom. This is a $33 billion company, beat by 21% on EPS, 23 cents versus 19 cents expected, and revenue $833 million versus $825 million expected, as they beat on the top and the bottom as well. CSGP. CoStar is an American provider of information analytics and marketing services to the commercial property industry in North America and Europe. $33 billion. That stock up after hours, 4%, as you can see right there on the screen. There's that candle on the beat with the top and the bottom. What about Visa? Visa numbers are not out yet. Still waiting for them. A lot of these companies end up doing 405, 410. Don't have them yet. We have bookings and we have CoStar right now. Bloom Energy is moving, but I don't see the numbers yet. Let me see if I can find those. Bloom Energy, I believe this is the after hours move. By the way, SoFi did close above 31.50, which is nice. No, Bloom is up 1%. It was up 4% during the day, up 1% after hours, so probably not getting a massive move yet. Cheesecake is not out yet. Visa's call will be at 5 p.m., but Visa will be out pretty soon in terms of the actual numbers. But we're still waiting on those right now. What did people do at SoFi today? Did people sell calls? Did they take any profits? Did they trim? Shout out to our friend Josh, who's a friend of the channel. His account is pushing 10 million. It's basically like, I think it's almost like 90% SoFi. He did take some profits on some $25 calls that he sold or that he bought before earnings. I think the majority of people just held. I mean, either you bought the dip or held. But SoFi still getting that 31.50 close, which was nice to see. Sold some calls, rolled some calls. Bought 2x lever at SoFi. Bought calls when it dipped up 150%. Not bad. I mean, the 28 dip was kind of stupid with a triple beat. But there you go. Still holding my June 2027 leaps. Enphase dumping. Are we dumping? Enphase is dumping. That is a real dump. Enphase is down 7%, 9% now after hours. I'll get the Enphase results in a second. That one is getting hit. Enphase, wow, why are they dumping? Beat by 36% on EPS, 90 versus 66. Beat by 11% on revenue, 410 versus 369. Really? They're going to dump it on a double beat and not just a small double beat. Those are a double-digit double beat, especially on EPS. Dude, we're going to have to run some stats, but like the average beat on EPS, I think is in the double digits. I mean, we are seeing multiple 15 to 20% beats on EPS, which is just showing margin efficiency across the board. Solar, I don't think solar is dead. I do think solar from a big, beautiful bill regulatory perspective is not in favor, which is kind of weird because you would think we need as much energy as possible. And if nuclear takes a lot longer to set up than solar, that we kind of should be supporting solar a lot more. But, you know, this administration does not care. Enphase right there is still down 5% on the day. It was down more, but now it is down 5%. Bloom Energy, I think we got it. Let me pull it up. Bloom Energy, ticker symbol BE. Wow, a double beat. 50% EPS, 15 cents versus 10 cents. EPS is up 1,600% year over year. Revenue 519 versus 428, beat by 21%. Bloom Energy starting to make a little bit of a move after hours. It was up 5% on the day. No, now it goes red. Well, now it's flat. Okay, now it's trying to keep moving, but you have another double beat. Another double beat. Visa down. Visa, I don't have the numbers yet, but Visa is down about 2%. Street might not love the numbers, but Bloom Energy, that one is, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Now she's moving. Now BE is moving 5% after hours with a double beat. With a double beat. EA is pumping. Okay, what do we have on EA? EA, well, it's not, I wouldn't say it's pumping, but it is having a little bit of a move. EA, we have this is our first miss. EA did have a little bit of a beat. Well, not a little bit of a beat. My goodness. EPS 54% beat. 54 cents a share versus 35 cents expected. Revenue, very slight miss by 3%. I think the street can overlook that revenue miss, but the EPS beat is the story. Another 50% beat on EPS. You're just not seeing a trend in companies not beating by EPS, and you're getting some of that momentum. Visa, let me see if I can get the earnings and see if I can get these numbers. We'll check Seagate in a second. Oh, here we go. We got Seagate. 260 versus 240. That's another beat on the bottom line, and then a beat on the top line. 2.6 versus 2.55 billion on revenue. EPS is up 65% year over year. Revenue is up 21%. Seagate is, are we flat after hours? We're up 2%. We're up 2%. It was down a little bit during the day, up 2%. But again, another double beat. It's not the best year over year. That is correct. But at the end of the day, you know, these companies just have to be able to beat the quarterly expectations more than anything. And it looks like most of these companies are beating it. Cheesecake not out yet. Cheesecake not out yet. I do think we have Visa. Let me see if I can pull this up. Do we have Visa? Let's see. I think Visa has a beat on EPS as well. Not a massive beat. Enphase bouncing back a little bit, correct, but Enphase still down. Visa, do we have it? Yes. Okay. Visa 298 versus 297. That's a beat by 1 cent, but 1 cent matters. And then 10.72 versus 10.62. That's a beat by 1%. Revenue's up 12% year over year. EPS is up 10% year over year. Visa is down 1%. Okay, so Street doesn't care too much about Visa. I think the narrative on Visa and stablecoins potentially hurting their business, the broader financial system being threatened by cryptocurrencies. I mean, this is something Visa is embracing head on, and they're not really hiding away from it. But I think that more of as a narrative is associated with their stock. The numbers for MasterCard, Visa, et cetera, don't seem to be disappointing this quarter at all. But Visa right there, down slightly after hours. Booking again, they beat on the top and the bottom, which is really good. EA's up a little bit. Bloom Energy so far having the best earnings after hours with that move. CoStar was having a decent earnings. Now that goes flat. Mondelez is down. This is the company that owns Oreo. They said they're cutting their advertising costs by $40 million because of training on generative AI models. They beat on the top and the bottom. 73 cents versus 71 cents expected, beat by 3%, 9.74 versus 9.68 billion. They beat by 1%. SoFi had earnings in the morning. United Health had earnings in the morning as well. SoFi, United Health, and PayPal had a double beat. SoFi had a triple beat. But all those companies did pretty good. United also started recovering towards the end of the day. It was down a bit. It ended the day up, 3.7? No, it actually ended relatively flat. But it was up during the day at some point. Okay, so not a lot of volatility after hours on any of these names. Still waiting for Cheesecake. Visa was, I think, the most important, and this one relatively flat, even though they got a double beat. Seagate also double beat. Mondelez double beat. Bookings double beat. EA had a little bit of a miss. Bloom Energy getting the most love right here, and that one's moving. Enphase is also recovering a little bit, but that one got hit. Well, it's recovering a lot more. It was down 10. Now it's down 2. Crypto, I don't know what's going on with Bitcoin, but it's a nasty $3,000 candle over the past couple hours. Joby just announced something with Nvidia. That's why Joby's up. Joby, what did they say? They said they're going to be using Nvidia tech to do something. Joby, we've teamed up with Nvidia as the only aviation launch partner for their new IGGX Thor platform. The powerful collaboration is set to accelerate the development of Superpilot, bringing next era autonomy and safety to electric flight. That is why Joby is getting a bit of a move. Is Archer getting a move on this? Archer is flat. Archer not moving too much on that. ETH is down as well. I don't know why ETH and Bitcoin took a bit of a fall towards the end. I mean, in the morning, they were doing phenomenal. They were really ETH was pushing through 4,200, but this one, wow, ETH, wow, dude, it just lost 4,000. Why is everyone selling ETH? Goodness gracious, bro. Just hold it. For it to go up, you have to hold, not sell. What do people not get? We'll sell it when it's higher, not here. Let's just wait till 5,000. Can we not have some paper hands? Goodness. ETH continuing to get hit right here. Nvidia, are we still holding 200 after hours? All right, at least Nvidia is holding 200. At least Nvidia is holding 200. You don't even own ETH? Yeah, but I own this leveraged freaking treasury, which needs ETH to go up. So we just hold the freaking asset? Goodness. Bitmine right there, down about 3% as well. There you go. Those are most of the earnings. I think we got through pretty much all of them. We'll talk a lot about the AI stuff, but I mean, you're not getting crazy reactions after hours. We just don't have Cheesecake yet. We should be getting that soon. We don't have Cheesecake yet. STX is pumping. Stargate. See, again, I've been saying this. Robinhood's really got to fix this, dude. I cannot see the after hours move because they combine it with the intraday move. So to me, it looks like it's up 1.4%, but on Webull, I get the accurate number. It's up 5%. So yes, you're right. Seagate is getting a bit of a move right here. They really got to fix this, dude. I told them what it's like. It makes it hard to actually see the accurate numbers, but Seagate, that one is up 5% in the after hours. What did Nvidia announce? They announced a lot of things. We'll talk all about it after we get through earnings, but they announced enough stuff to increase their market cap by 250 billion. It is not a chart settings thing. I talked to their head designer. He acknowledged it was an issue. And I was like, dude, I'm not crazy, right? This is something we need to change. He was like, yes, it makes sense. We get it. I just need them to push the update and change it so that it's easier. Cheesecake, we don't have the earnings yet. Not on Cheesecake. Still waiting on that. Is Visa making a little bit of a pump? SoFi 3150, Visa went green. It was red, went green, which is good. Tess says, I've got a meeting with Vlad on the 13th in London. All right, Tess, there you go. That is, if he's coming to the UK to speak to the Brits, then, which makes sense because they opened up shop in UK at the end of 2023. That'll be a chance to talk to Mr. Vlad. Palo Alto, that's up a little bit. Microsoft is up 2%. Again, that was at 550 in the morning. Nvidia still holding these levels. at 200. Cake's at 5 o'clock. Okay. I thought it was usually earlier. The call's at 5, but if the numbers are at 5, then that one we'll wait on. I think that's what we got, folks. That's what we got on earnings. Let me get a little bit of coverage on bookings right here, and then we'll keep going from there. Then we'll get into all the AI conversation that happened today. Just a massive day in the stock market. If you own Nvidia, I mean, this was one of those days that, quite frankly, could be a game changer, could eliminate us from ever having to see the 170s, 180s again. I don't want to get that optimistic about it, but what he announced today, along with the earnings estimates that I think are going to go higher, aka the upgrades that should be coming out soon, that could be a massive deal for Nvidia.
Analysts were expecting only 95.66, revenue of $9 billion, also topping estimates. Booking says it is seeing steady travel demand trends so far in the current quarter, and you can see those shares are popping 5%. So perhaps an echo of what we've heard from some of the airlines already this earnings season as well. It's clear that the markets have been dominated this year by the tech trade. The Nasdaq 100 is outpacing all other indices. It's almost 18% above its 200-day moving average. That's the most since 2024, right before a correction. This as we go into the most crucial 2 days of the earnings season, with Alphabet and Meta reporting tomorrow, and Amazon and Apple reporting on Thursday.
All right, we got Cheesecake. We got Cheesecake. What do we got? You saw bookings right there. Cheesecake. EPS, 68 cents. Revenue missed. EPS beat, revenue missed. Even though revenue's still up 5% year over year. Okay, so you have a miss and a beat for the Cheesecake Factory, which is one of my favorite restaurants. But it looks like they got a miss and a beat. Is that stock getting hit? Cheesecake right here. It's up 1%. It's up 1%. Street expected 912 of revenue. We got 907. 60 cents of EPS, 68 cents. Again, the EPS beats. I mean, very few companies are not beating by EPS. And that's what matters, I would say, more than revenue. Revenue is more a function of demand. EPS is more so a function of internal efficiencies. Because if you can actually squeak out a profit and then increase the margin at which you're able to squeak out that profit after all your expenses as a public company, it means you're a big boy company. It means you deserve to be owned by the public. And a lot of these companies are proving that they deserve capital as they're beating on EPS, which is very, very, very nice to see. Again, why is Bitcoin down? I'm not sure. Bitcoin's been up and down throughout the month of October. I mean, it's really not had a trend. It's kind of been stuck around this 110, 115 range. But it is getting a pretty nasty candle right there, 112.7. And obviously ETH is going down with it. Maybe people are selling Bitcoin to buy Nvidia. Again, that's a pretty stupid reason. But like, I don't really have any other reason. Is gold still down on the day? Yeah. Wow. Gold's still down. It's not as bad as it was in the morning, but still down below 4,000. So this whole argument about people are selling gold to buy Bitcoin, I mean, maybe, but Bitcoin price action not necessarily showing that's the case. So there you go. That's what you've got here. Did Regeneron have earnings today? Did they? Regeneron was up 11% on the day. I don't think these guys had earnings. $67 billion pharmaceutical company. Not sure what I saw on the headline, but that one is up 12% on the day. I do not believe they had earnings. I mean, there's obviously some whales that are probably selling their Bitcoin as well, which is weird, right? Because we have a rate cut coming tomorrow, which is very bullish for liquidity, the broader M2 money supply. And by the way, not only do we have a rate cut, we basically have a function of quantitative easing, as Jay Powell probably signaled that he's going to get ready to stop quantitative tightening. So we have two forces that should be incredibly important for risk on assets and stimulative. So it is a little weird to see it kind of get a hit right before we get into those announcements, but it also could be priced in. Nvidia right here, 201.76. That's still up after hours on the S&P 500 at 687. CCJ, Cameco, they got a big announcement today with Brookfield. And as a result, a lot of the uranium nuclear stocks got a bit of a pump. Cameco right there up 24.68% on the day. Oklo was down a little bit. Nano Nuclear was up 2.70%. Regeneron did have earnings. Okay, I will try to get those numbers. I did not see them anywhere. But, oh, it probably happened in the morning, right? Might have happened in the morning if it pumped throughout the day. But I'll try to get those numbers as well and see. Okay, cool. So that is what we got. JPal will speak at 2:30 tomorrow. I'll be live pretty much the whole day. So at 2 p.m., we get the announcement. I'll be live. And I think I'm going to be live the whole day from market open to market close because we got a lot of tech earnings as well. Tomorrow's just going to be a massive day. But we'll get the decision at 2 p.m. and then at 2:30, we get JPal. And we're going to see what goes from there. Okay, cool. So let's get into AI and let's talk about what happened today with NVIDIA. We're not going to have Technical Tuesday today. Again, it just makes no sense to do a lot of TA when we have all these companies reporting earnings, but we should be good for next week. And we'll get a lot of those earnings done, which will help us kind of analyze the technical moves that they made as well. All right, so what happened today? Well, NVIDIA basically said that the AI revolution is not slowing down, that the AI revolution is going to continue to be as strong as Jensen has laid out for the vision over the past couple of years. And most importantly, he guided for $500 billion of revenue over the next 5 quarters. And as a result of that business update, a lot of these street estimates can go a bit higher. We're going to have Jose join in just a second as well to kind of give his thoughts on what's going on with NVIDIA. I'll start by sharing this video before we watch the full Karp interview. Actually, why don't we watch the full Karp interview? Let's get that out of the way. So here was Jensen and Karp on CNBC. For those that haven't seen it, this is what they had to say. Very big deal for NVIDIA and Palantir. And quite frankly, the amount of partnerships they announced today was really important for the overall AI sector, which is why I think a lot of stocks got a bid. But they especially focused on Palantir. And here's what Jensen and Karp had to say together for the first time as they were on CNBC.
And Alex, I'm actually going to start with you, the CEO of Palantir, just to explain, does that mean no human intervention? Can you just explain how this would work and use Lowe's as an example?
Well, first of all, I'm delighted to be on the stage with what many people I believe to be one of the great entrepreneurs of my lifetime and a patriot. And it means a lot to me to be here. So we have a product called Ontology. You could think of it as essentially a digital representative of your enterprise, including security model, which essentially takes the disabilities out of large language models and allows you to move decision-making to the front line with people, without people, depending on how you're doing it. In the context of Lowe's and other enterprises, it allows you to essentially automate decision-making, like how would your supply chain work? How would it work if it changed? How do you get the cheapest good to the right place, given that there may be disruption? But in general, what's very, very special, I believe, about our partnership is we're going to be able to move 2x, and I think in the future even faster. So you get a much, much faster, and actually because you can control it in a more granular way, much faster, much cheaper. And then the macro thing that I'm actually most excited about, which for our country is, because of that, you can do manufacturing in America, you can make the workers stronger and better, and you have more competition because you can use open weight models, open source models. You can use any hyperscaler. You can decide not to use a hyperscaler. This is much, much better for America, much better for workers, much better for industry. It's cheaper, it's faster. And obviously they have one of the world's top tech teams, and we work very well with them.
So Jensen, just in regards to that collaboration, then who would actually be procuring the hardware? Is this like a company like Lowe's? Do they have to put the upfront cost, with their existing GPUs and then working with Palantir? Is that how it works? Or
first of all, it's amazing to think that the Palantir Ontology platform has achieved all of this, and they're the fastest enterprise growing platform in the world. In a lot of ways, it gives enterprises what we all want, which is intelligence and the ability to make good decisions fast. And now we're going to supercharge it with NVIDIA's accelerated computing for the first time. And so NVIDIA's CUDA accelerated computing is going to get integrated. We're going to be able to put NVIDIA's AI libraries on top of that and open source model that we're working on together into the Ontology platform. And you'll run it in the cloud, any cloud, or you run it on-prem or even a private cloud. And so, as you know, NVIDIA runs everywhere. And so you could buy a server from HP or Dell. You could be in another country and you want to set up your own private cloud. We got no trouble with that. And so it doesn't matter. We run everywhere, and Palantir runs everywhere.
But you're talking about the future then. So this isn't something that would be accretive to revenues just in the near term. You're still working it out. And like, I know Lowe's is an example, but are there other customers?
Well, at Palantir, we just do what's best for our customers. We work downstream for value creation. So we believe, we know when it's faster, better, more accurate, and more flexible, and creates a better future for them because they can choose how they want to run their applications. we'll do very well. And at Palantir, we're doing very well in revenue and profit, and that's not actually our primary motivation now. And the reason we've done so well on profit and on growth is because you just have to create value. This creates more value for the end user.
But you just said before, too, that the human may not even be involved with some of these decisions. And I guess that is a major concern in this day and age, that AI efficiencies could take away from or displace the job force. So couldn't something like this collaboration do that?
It's interesting. When you say humans don't have to be in the loop, that doesn't inherently mean there aren't cases where humans need to be in the loop. For example, 40 years ago, we had 40x more manufacturing jobs than we have now. So it's like you can make more manufacturing jobs, which are humans, working class humans. You can build things you couldn't build in the past. And those humans become more and more valuable than they were in the past. In the defense context, you have situations where humans have to be in the loop, offense, situations where humans shouldn't be in the loop, like defense. Our collaboration makes all those use cases better for workers, for manufacturing, for defense, for offense, and in general, because it allows people to use any kind of model, any kind of compute structure. It makes America stronger and better.
Whenever a business is more productive, whenever they can move faster, their business grows. They hire more people. And so I think this idea that AI is going to take jobs is going to change everyone's job. That's for sure. But I think it's going to make companies more productive. We're more productive today because of AI. We're hiring more people.
I know, and we saw some leaders of smaller companies, startups that have been around for just 3 years, valuations of $39 billion, 400 employees, and clearly that is a beneficiary of using AI. But I wonder, with your proximity to the White House right now, you're here quite often. Is that a concern that you're hearing from them? Like, what about the workers? We have to make sure that we're not displacing them. And is there anything that you guys are, Nvidia in particular, is doing with the White House?
Look at what President Trump is doing. The first thing, my first phone call, my first meeting with him, it's manufacturing in America. Move manufacturing back to the United States. It creates tons of jobs. If we could move manufacturing, the core technology, we have better security, national security, we have create more jobs. Second, because we're talking about the AI industrial revolution, all of these AI factories creates a ton of jobs. And so he's really in the job creation mode, bringing manufacturing back to the United States. And
AI is exceedingly good for working class workers. Now you could argue, is it good for consultants and people? That's a very different debate. But you're going to see remanufacturing. How would you build a culturally specific enterprise? Like we power Panasonic batteries. It's like you're building something that otherwise would have had to be built in Japan. Now you can build it in America. You can train the workers so that they can behave like Japanese engineers. That's all AI augmentation. And by the way, the workers are more valuable, and just like us, they get paid more because they're more valuable.
Everybody knows how to use an AI because AI is smart. And so AI is the first technology that has closed the technology divide. Everybody who didn't know how to program computers in the past, they know exactly how to program a computer now. It's called AI.
But for the workforce in general, trying to learn all of that, it does take time. So do you think that maybe we're overestimating the benefits of this AI build out in the near term, which is reflected in the markets?
I'm going to push back on this narrative. It's not. First of all, AI makes America the dominant country in the world. So just start there. Every other country in the world, like I spent half my life in Europe, they're whining and crying, and it's like we have the right chips, we have the right software, we have the right engineers, we have the right culture, we have the right people.
The risk appetite.
Risk appetite, right people to ask questions. The whole thing is combining to become a juggernaut, and then these partnerships happen, and that just throws gasoline on the fire. So the real question is, will the GDP growth accrue to all Americans or just wealthy Americans? And the answer to that is, it depends what you do. But I deeply believe, I think we deeply believe.
Then.
Well, no, manufacturing jobs.
If you build manufacturing jobs, which is what this president wants to do, can you build them? Yes. How do you build them? You need AI. Can you train the people? Can you upscale them? Yes, if you use
mechanicals,
AI.
Electricals, and plumbers and construction.
Power. And that, I know the red tape, you've discussed it, but nuclear reactors.
The number one thing of this administration is pro-power growth. Look at all the power generations that he's approved. Look at all the DOE land and energy they've approved. I mean, this is a pro-energy growth administration, pro-manufacturing administration, and President Trump is pro-jobs. When these things all come together, it's going to be fantastic.
Is that why you said "Make America Great Again"? That's the first time I've heard you say that at the end of a speech for GTC.
Well, I was thanking everybody in the room. I mean, look.
But was that also a communication to the president? Because you were expecting him here, right?
No, he's in Asia. I'm
Well, I
supposed
know,
to be
but
there.
I thought you had said on an earlier panel that
No.
you were expecting.
Well, I think we're making America great again. I think all of his policies relating to energy and manufacturing and all of his enthusiasm behind artificial intelligence and making sure that American AI technology is the standard of the world, that it's diffused maximally, and making sure that the rest of the world has the benefit of American technology so they can build on top of it. All of that is fantastic.
And Alex, do you feel like any outcomes for the end of this week? I know you're heading, to Asia right after this. Do you feel like there could be a more positive outcome from the trade talks? Because it seems like the market's perceiving that. All of the CEOs I've spoken to at this event too are very, very bullish that there might be some good news. So maybe you guys both know something that we don't, that you could share.
And we're going to tell you.
Yes, right now on TV. Why not?
Look, I don't want to just make this about our partnership, but if you already have a dominant position, a profitable position, a position that is growing in both cases in a kind of way that is not what people have seen in the past, and you somehow create more value for your customers, that is incredible for our customers, it's incredible for our country, and it's not so bad for us.
And Palantir is the most technically deep enterprise platform company in the world. And this collaboration is just going to supercharge that.
And I will end it, but I did ask about China. So is there any way that do you believe that you're going to be getting grants for licenses? Or?
Well, I think the important thing to take away is that we need to win developers all over the world. And there are so many open source developers in China. I think it's a mistake not to have them build on American tech. So that's number one. Number two, we all agree that we want America to win. The only question is what's our strategy in doing so. And one of the best frameworks that I've heard is David Sachs talking about, imagine 5 years from now, where do we want, suppose American technology was around the world, where do we want American technology market share to be? Do you want it to be 80% or do you want it to be 20%? And he believes, and I believe, that we want the world to be built on American tech standards. We want the same thing that happened in the good old days when we first started wireless technology, and it's no longer built on American standards. And we really want to go back to those days, and AI is ours to lose. Just as Alex was talking about earlier, we have the chips, we have the infrastructure, we have the technology, we have the models, we have the people. This is ours, and we will have the power. This is ours to lose, and we just got to get on top of it and make it happen.
And you believe that is going to happen, that the tides are changing and the relationships with other countries are working out quite well, including China. And so is that something that you're telling me right now?
That's something that only the president could solve. And if there's anybody who could solve it, I'm certain the president will be the one to do it.
We're just building technology. Yeah. We're building technology. We want to be in the strongest position we can be in. And we're repped by a president who seems to be extraordinarily good at figuring out how to make deals. You saw the peace treaty in the Middle East, which I don't think anyone else could have done. You've seen it, in my humble opinion, you see what his reactions abroad, including his sanctioning of our response to Iran. And we're in the factory building the best tools in the world, and that should give everyone an advantage.
And the important thing is China is out of Nvidia's forecast. If anything happens,
I know, you said zero, right?
It's zero, and if the president pulls out a miracle, and it'll just be a bonus for the country.
All right, there you go. Jensen and Karp was pretty incredible to see. To break that down and a lot more of what happened at GTC, we got to get the most important NVIDIA analyst that I think, quite frankly, exists on the entire planet. Ladies and gentlemen, Jose, what a day for you.
Yeah, definitely. It's been pretty exciting day. And but first, happy birthday yesterday. I texted you, but still, let me just say happy birthday one more time. Hope everything was good. But yeah, back to this NVIDIA stuff.
First of all, I appreciate that. Second of all, so on Zillow, I just want to know your search history today. Like, was it Hawaii? Was it, Turks and Caicos? Like, where exactly were you searking on Zillow after you saw a video tour?
Definitely not searking on Zillow, but it is funny. I was just looking at some hotels in Hawaii. So the wife and I can go with the little one, right? The wife and I, little one, go for a nice vacation this year.
All right. So, let's start off with this question before we get into GCC. Why do you think the stock hit all-time highs today.
I mean, easily that number they gave with the Rubin and Blackwell numbers of half a trillion visibility. I mean, I'm gonna rewatch the keynote, because these keynotes, we hear a lot of great things, but to digest them and to kind of put them in perspective of what kind of total addressable market they can hit, it takes some time for me. Maybe for others it's an immediate hit, but for me it takes some time. But this $500 billion figure from the keynote was the most important thing, in my opinion, that really jumped the stock. It shows that analysts are still very underestimating what they can do in forms of AI chips. And this is visibility. This, to me, I feel like every time I come here, I say I'm not bullish enough. And reasons like this continues to show me that I'm not bullish enough in the AI market.
Yeah, I mean, dude, 200. I think we all knew it was eventually coming, but for it to come in such a for the velocity of the move to happen the way it did, based on the announcements that were announced, I think was really incredible to see. And then obviously that $500 billion number was also very important. So in terms of the actual announcements at GTC, you got a bunch of stuff with the Department of Energy, Uber, Palantir, all of these broader data center companies. I mean, what do you think he said besides the 500 billion from an actual technical standpoint that got the street to also think this was one of those GTCs that really does matter for analysts to care about?
Yeah, and coming into this GTC DC, I wasn't expecting much, if I may be honest, because we already had kind of like the main GTC in March. So I thought we were going to get like a lot of rehash, but I was completely wrong. This was probably one of my favorite GTCs in the wild. Maybe because I was coming with low expectations and they kind of blew it out the waters. Some interesting things that I found, I have my notes here. So obviously the number one was like that revenue number. I think that was crucial. The second thing I would say is they announced some massive supercomputer wins with the United States government or U.S. agencies. Again, I have to look at the press release to kind of get more breakdown of what's the time frame, how many are going to show up and when they're going to show up. But 7 supercomputers is pretty amazing. I saw some crazy 100,000 Blackwell GPUs in some of them. So the demand there is wild. The third thing that I found pretty interesting, and they announced what is called NVQ Link. So it's the ability to kind of connect GPUs and QPUs. I don't know why am I saying my Qs weird right now? Whatever. But is to connect these two types of products uniquely with a special type of connection NVIDIA has done. And this is what actually has made NVIDIA kind of like a core component or the main player in the AI space, is their NVLink. The NVLink, the ability to connect a GPU and a CPU together where they can communicate almost like if they were the same chip, is the greatest strength that I think many people don't know about. This is the greatest strength. This is the ability that NVIDIA has to create that NVL72. If the NVQ Link is something similar for the quantum space, I think this could, if that market picks up and becomes a massive revenue opportunity, that creates that moat there. So that one was pretty interesting. So I think those were yeah.
Do you think the amount of time spent on quantum, has it changed your perspective on the industry? Why do you think Jensen really focused on it at this GTC?
Has it changed my perspective in the industry? First, my original perspective is not investable for me. And I still believe that's still the case for me. It's still not investable for me, as while you have companies that already have production-made products and have customers, I think to kind of get to the billion-dollar revenue streams that I like to look at for massive growth opportunities are not there for the vast industry in the short term. Maybe in the long term. Overall, though, it does seem like all these players are trying to get into the space, and I think that's an indication that it might be a lot closer than what maybe I might have thought and what others might have think. But
do you think Jensen sees it as a multi-billion-dollar opportunity? Because he spent a good amount of time talking about it today, right?
Yeah, so the way he's doing it is more through the hybrid approach, right? That hybrid approach of using classical and accelerated computing to help determine a lot of the error solutions in quantum. So I think that's the way he's going to play it out. And I think that's the great way of like, hey, look, if this picks up, you can use our chips. If it doesn't pick up, that's great. I think it's the best hedge for them. If it goes up, it allows them to have a massive opportunity. If it doesn't go anywhere, they pretty much just focus on the R&D on that connectivity solution aspect. Now, for him to really believe this is the next stage, I would expect more than just a connection or some form of bridge between them. I would expect them to more focus on a first-hand solution. So I see this as more Jensen kind of hedging his bets in quantum. If it goes somewhere, look, we're right here. We have our CUDA-Q, which is our kind of software acceleration applications. And we have this NVQ that if maybe you are this great quantum computer company that develops some great qubit chips, you're going to connect them to our AI chips, right? You're going to have the ability to connect them with us. And now we're part of the package. Whatever you sell, we sell as well, because you're going to be able to sell these supercomputers, these quantum computers with our hybrid computer. So I think it's more of a, it's good if it goes good. And even if it doesn't go good, we didn't spend a lot of money in it.
Right. So he wants to get into the industry if it becomes something super massive, wants to be prepared for it with this hybrid approach, and, you know, probably can't ignore that technology, which is why they spent the time to discuss it today.
And if I may say, a lot of the things that NVIDIA does release, it takes time, right? For example, CUDA came out, I believe, in 2012, and it only really became possible and really kind of created that moat recently, right? NVLink, similar, right? NVLink is more than a few years old, but it really kind of shined recently. So even if you hear them working on this, it doesn't mean it's going to shine right away, but it gives them that opportunity too when it does.
Agreed. What did you think about the Uber partnership? I feel like we've heard NVIDIA partner with Uber for the past 3-4 years and nothing comes from it. Do you think this one was a bit different?
Yeah, so it's I feel like he didn't explain it as well as maybe in the press release. So there have been various amount of Uber partnerships. The one we heard about earlier, I don't know if it was, this week or last week, we heard one as well, where it was just Uber kind of sharing data. And I thought that was they have a nice white paper on it that showcases a lot of the information and data that they are collecting, and now it helps them train their form of AI models. Now, this one is, I think, a little bit more potential and being something because you're actually creating a form of an autonomous vehicle fleet with, I forget what company it is. This is the Stellantis. I forget what was the company. Or regardless, this is one of the first partnerships where you actually see a form of physical product being discussed in the press release. Yeah. Normally, in the past few weeks, in the past few months, when we've heard of an Uber partnership, it's more about data control, right? It's more about data transfer and kind of information sharing. I think this goes a little bit above that. So there is some, I think some bullish scenarios with that one as well.
So Jensen said there's a $500 billion opportunity with Blackwell and Rubin GPU over the next 5 quarters. Hopper shipped 4 million GPUs. Blackwell Rubin has already shipped 6 million with the total demand tracked at 20 million units. All of that doesn't seem bearish for the data center plays, but your Nebius, your CoreWeave, your Iren, all of them took a bit of a beating by the end of the day. And again, it's a bit subjective since those stocks are up a lot this year. But any thoughts on why the data center stocks got hit today?
My biggest thing is maybe the market was expecting actual direct partnerships with some of these during GTC events, and they didn't get that partnership announcement. Regardless, I agree with your first sentiment that this is extremely, extremely bullish for the cloud players. Like I mentioned, I feel like sometimes I'm not bullish enough. To me, right, Rubin is coming out in 2026. So if there's visibility for Rubin in 2026, those data centers are going to run for 5+ years, even longer, right? But just on the Rubin chip, you would expect at least 5 years. So right now, if you have this crazy demand of chips, and let's just go back to thinking about it, right? Hopper just came out, and just with the Hopper and the little bit of Blackwell that we have, we're already data center constraint and power constraint. Now you're telling me you still have to show about 14 million more GPUs. Where are you going to get that power? Where are you going to get that infrastructure? So again, I'm not bullish enough, but it gets me extremely bullish for these AI cloud players, either being your CoreWeave, your Nebius, your Iron, or whatever you want to own. The market is there. It doesn't mean the stock is going to go up straight every day, right? Massive volatility, you just mentioned it, right? Some of these had a crazy run up. Any pull down, I think I'm pretty excited about them. I think we both did the same play with Nebius last week. We both sold puts.
Yeah.
Those puts, we're just going to get the premium out of them. now if we see dips like that, for me, it's gonna be a mixture of puts and buying shares from now on, just because it does that was just a great indication that it's a healthy market for the hyperscale and those that are building the AI infrastructure space.
Yeah, I mean, now like we could possibly see those prices again, but it would have to create a little bit of a shock in the system for the street to feel worried about data center spend. But based on what Jensen said today, based on some of the Morgan Stanley estimates, based on what we're going to hear from the hyperscalers tomorrow, which, by the way, guys, Jose's YouTube right there, he will be covering all the tech earnings with me, so you can subscribe to his channel as well, and we'll be live tomorrow on the close. All of that should give some pretty good guidance for the data center plays. In terms of Google, Microsoft, and Meta in general, as a semiconductor investor, are you looking for something very specific from those three companies to report tomorrow?
From tomorrow, at least, well, and then we have Amazon on Thursday. 2 out of the 4, I'm expecting to increase capital expenditure tomorrow, or by between tomorrow and Thursday, right? So out of those 4 players, out of Meta, out of Google, out of Microsoft and Amazon, whatever was said today, I believe at least 2 of those 4 can increase CapEx. Or make some nice announcements of CapEx growth in this earnings, especially, right? OpenAI and Microsoft just made that deal where OpenAI is going to buy $250 billion worth of compute for Azure. Where are they going to get that? They're going to get that either by building their own, by working with CoreWeave, by working with Nebius, as they both have, as Microsoft has contracts with both, or maybe, who knows, maybe some other player that they want to continue to diversify into, right? So I expect 2 out of the 4 to increase CapEx. And what I'm going to be listening to is AI cloud demand. What's the balance like? And Microsoft, historically, every earnings tries to tell us, hey, look, next quarter, we're actually going to see a balance in supply and demand. And then they come up that quarter and say, you know what, we're actually not there and we don't expect to be there. I want to hear that same commentary from all these players this week.
Yeah, because if they can say that we have to either increase our CapEx guidance or we don't have enough supply, indicating that demand is outstripping that supply, I mean, that's bullish for a lot of the other data center plays, as you said. Do you think Microsoft solidifying their basically 30% stake in OpenAI is good clarity for the industry that just didn't know what Microsoft's role is in this OpenAI partnership?
Yeah, I think it also clears up the kind of questions of how OpenAI can do compute and how it can kind of work with other players, because now Microsoft no longer has the right to first refusal. So before, OpenAI used to go to Microsoft and say, look, Microsoft, I'm going to go to CoreWeave. I'm paying this type of price. Can you match it? If you can't match the price, I'm going to go with them. Now they don't even have to go to Microsoft anymore. They can just work with whoever. In the return, they got that, at least that $250 billion incremental. We don't know how long that time frame is. I don't think they told us. I don't know if it's till 2030 or to 2032. Those are the 2 years that have been thrown around in that presentation. But to me, it opens up the opportunity for OpenAI to make a lot more partners outside of CoreWeave, outside of Oracle, to kind of increase compute demands. And I think that's actually pretty exciting for the overall space.
Do you have any thesis on this? Once AGI is declared by OpenAI, that declaration will now be verified by an independent expert panel. What are they talking about here? How could this even be in legal writing? What do you think that means?
Yeah, well, I mean, because, right, OpenAI, I think if once they hit AGI, they could have taken away all the IPs and everything away from Microsoft. But that's when OpenAI was to decide, I've created AGI. And you were like, how can I question you? Now, when OpenAI decides, hey, I've created AGI, Microsoft and I guess both of them create this panel that are going to finally decide, is this AGI or not? So now it's no longer in one person's, in one group's court. Now the whole, it's a leveling field there. But I agree. They have to find a way to first define it, because how can you have a panel without a definition, right? It's like going to a court without the rule of the law. You need to have that rule for you to have the jury and the lawyers and everybody else be able to make the claim of what and what it's not. So I wonder if they're ever going to share what that definition is.
I love it. Well, NVIDIA's pumping after hours as well. 203.60.
Let's go. That's crazy. 6% on a $4+ trillion company. Do you know the price we need to be 5 trillion?
I think it's 204. We're at 4.95 trillion right now. We need 204.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we need like 50 cents to get there. Absolutely incredible stuff, folks. This is Jose's newsletter. I'm putting it right here in the chat, whatthechipHappened.com. I literally got an update yesterday, and he was talking about Amcor. So
Yeah,
basically covers the
Amcor.
entire-
Yeah, I saw a lot of your people were mentioning it became a little bit popular, so I decided to cover that one. And this week is, even though it's not a lot of semiconductors this week, we do have a lot of big tech players that are going to be able to dictate at least how the spending is going to go within the AI and chip market. So appreciate that.
I have just like 2 more questions for you, Jose, but real quick, I have noticed that you have a paid tier to this now. So just want to give you the floor to give a little bit of a pitch on this. What do people get if they were to enter the community? I think it's like $50 a year for this newsletter.
Yeah. So it's pretty new. I mean, a lot of noise in this space, and I wanted to create a community of like-minded investors. In that community, I have a room where we can all discuss. I've also created a lot of great analysis and just a great way to kind of keep away from the noise impacting the overall AI market. Because every other day you hear of some bearish thesis, some bearish stuff. So if you're interested about the semiconductor market, if you're interested about the AI space, this is a great community. And I created different tiers there for all price points. But I follow this space like no tomorrow, man. So to me, I honestly believe I'm providing a lot of value for a great price.
Yeah, and honestly, getting the signal via the noise is very important. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on Twitter, a lot of stuff on YouTube, but if you want to be in a centralized spot, which is how I'm hearing this described, I think that definitely makes a lot of sense right there. So there you go. That's his newsletter, whatthechipHappened.com. For those that want to join the community, you can check it out on the website as well. And you can get those updates from Jose. All right, last couple questions for you, Jose. There was a Skyworks acquisition. Any thoughts on that today?
If that happened today, I did not listen to anything else except the OpenAI and Microsoft thing and the Nvidia stuff. It's been pretty crazy. I mean, yesterday was also pretty crazy. We had some AMD announcement where they had 2 massive supercomputers announced with the U.S. government, and we also had Qualcomm release a new AI chip. So if anybody has any questions on those 2, I also wouldn't mind covering that either.
Okay. And then Intel, I mean, it was a pretty good earnings. They beat EPS by 2,200%. I know you've not been the biggest fan of it, but do you think at all it's worth taking a gander at, or is Nvidia and AMD just a better opportunity at the end of the day?
I mean, I always have to see where I would want to put my money, and I don't want to buy every stock. As a U.S. citizen, I want Intel to succeed 100%. This is a company that's going to continue to make United States an amazing and strong company. So I want them to succeed. In forms of investment, the turnaround story is just getting started. You have a lot of great things. You have the Nvidia partnership. You have them slowing down capital expenditure. You have the backing of the U.S. government. These are all the right directions for this company to make a massive turnaround story. In the semiconductor space, it takes time. It takes time. So if you are an investor, just be prepared for a strong ride. If you are, and I'm sorry, I'm going to bring this back to AMD. If you are an AMD investor, I think those earnings were really amazing for AMD stock investors because they mentioned a few things. They mentioned that the CPU space, they're supply constraint because they're working on still older nodes. They're 10 and 7, Intel 10 and Intel 7. I believe that's going to allow AMD to continue to grab market share in the client space. And unfortunately, Intel during the earnings call, if one's listened to or saw a transcript, Intel actually said that they're still behind in technology leadership for the data center space. And if that's the case, and we're seeing all these massive data centers investment, it's going to continue to show that AMD might continue to win a nice amount of CPU market share in the data center space. So pretty good for Intel. Congratulations. But I think this is extremely bullish for AMD in general.
I believe 205.23, guys, is 5 trillion. I don't think this is 5 trillion yet, but let me know. But there you go, 204 after hours. Last question for you, Jose, is this Qualcomm thing. Should people be worried about Qualcomm taking NVIDIA's lunch, or?
Definitely not. I mean, it's crazy to see the market react like that. Yesterday, the stock was up roughly 20% because AMD, let's just go back to AMD, has been trying to compete against NVIDIA for multiple generations of AI chips. And they're just finally getting announcements with big players, right? They just got that OpenAI. You're going to tell me Qualcomm that has, this is, I think, their second generation. There's the AI 100 that they released in 2020. Didn't really get much adoption. But you're telling me that this company is going to come out with their second chip sometime in 2026, and it's going to be a market eater launch for the rest of the industry? I don't think so. I mean, it's not, Qualcomm is not just fighting Nvidia. It's fighting Nvidia, it's fighting AMD, it's fighting Broadcom, it's fighting Marvell, it's fighting all these ASIC players, it's fighting all these other players that are also building AI chips that are in the private market as well. The only good thing I would say about them is they did announce a partnership with Humane that they're going to make a 200 megawatt data center in Saudi Arabia. How real that deal is, we've seen a lot of deals in Saudi Arabia and the Middle East right now, but we haven't seen the chips actually get sent there. Where are you in their tier list? Like, if you're that company, Humane, are you taking orders from Nvidia first, then AMD, then the other players? And where in the list is Qualcomm on that pay sheet? If those deals are real. So to me, not a worried, but Qualcomm, outside of the AI play, they definitely have an opportunity with Internet of Things. I just wouldn't like it. I wouldn't buy Qualcomm as a data center AI company.
That's a fair point. All right, there you go, Jose. 200. I mean, it looks like it wants to. Who's buying after hours, bro? Where's this? You got some volume coming in.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's it's insane. I mean, I wonder if there's some keynotes happening, because GTC, I think, is still going on. There's a lot of keynotes happening. I wonder if some things are happening during the event right now.
That's true. There are a bunch of keynotes. I mean, there's tons of people looking at different presentations and demos, and they could be pulling out their phones right now and saying, screw it, I'm buying more. There you go. 204.30. All right, Jose, thank you. I don't think it's 5 trillion yet, guys. My market caps aren't updating on Legend or Webull, but if anyone has it, let me know. I still see 4.97.
That is wild. That's crazy. This was just 4 trillion. What, 2 months ago? When did it hit? It's wild. It's wild. The AI market is crazy. I mean, yesterday I stood on I sat up by my computer for like 12 hours just using AI to help me code some stuff. I think without AI, it would have taken me over a month to do what I did yesterday. And I was like, this is insane. If I, who sometimes like to procrastinate a lot, can do this in 12 hours, I can't imagine what some of these crazy people are doing with AI right now.
Agreed. Jose, thank you so much. Jose's newsletter, What the Chip Happened, and I will see you tomorrow. We got a big day tomorrow.
All right. Good night, and thank you to all the support. Appreciate it. Good
night. Later. Yeah, guys, I think I don't have anything telling me if it's 5 trillion or not. Some of you guys are saying yes. Some of you guys are saying we need a couple more bucks. 208, I think, is way past 5 trillion. But this is incredible. And this is a hell of a day. Steve's going to be on in 5 minutes. He said he wanted to come on, so we'll get his thoughts on what happened throughout the day. In terms of the Palantir partnership, look, I mean, I thought it was quite incredible. At the end of the day, this is NVIDIA's models being integrated into ontology and AIP. I think from a perception standpoint, it was very important to see Karp and Jensen, who are two of the biggest AI leaders of our lifetime, actually collaborating and having this relationship together. There's a demo specifically with Lowe's that I haven't seen yet, but Lowe's is the use case, is the company with the use case that has already been working with Palantir, integrating the work they're doing with NVIDIA. And it's quite incredible. It is just quite incredible to see the fact that we're alive and we get to see multiple multi-trillion-dollar companies in our lifetime be created. I mean, the story of NVIDIA will be told long after we're all gone, and the fact that we get to live through it and then have a chance to invest in it is pretty cool. And again, even if you're not investing in NVIDIA, if you're investing in something that's a derivative of NVIDIA, which Nebius, CoreWeave, all of these guys are derivatives of what's happening with NVIDIA, then you're a beneficiary of this company continuing to do well. So it is quite incredible. We already got Visa's numbers. Let's see after hours if we had any changes. Visa had a double beat. Visa basically flat after hours. Enphase still down about 5%. Bookings up a little bit. Seagate up 2%. Bloom Energy having the best one, up about 4%. Cheesecake down. They did have a beat and a miss. CoStar up a little bit, or actually CoStar down, and then EA down. Mondelez taking a bigger beating, as that one is down about 4% as well. Teradyne, oh yeah, that one's up. Teradyne is up. Wow, that's a big move on Teradyne. Did their earnings just come out? Because we didn't get their numbers an hour ago. Maybe their numbers just came out, but Teradyne, that's a pretty big pump. You got Josh. Great time to be alive. Josh, we shared your portfolio, bro. You're inching towards that 10 milli. It's gonna happen. Josh, what percentage of the port is SoFi? I thought it was like 80%, but I feel like maybe I'm too aggressive there. I know you have MicroStrategy. I know you have BitMine, but I feel like a decent chunk of this is SoFi. So shout out to Mr. Josh right there, getting some love. Yeah, Joby's up 9% because of NVIDIA partnership. I don't know the specifics on it, but their eVTOL is collaborating with NVIDIA. That's why Joby's getting some excitement right there after hours. And you're getting a bit of a move. All right, Teradyne, I just got their numbers. Revenue of 769 million. Strong AI-related growth in compute and memory expected to grow in Q4. EPS was 75 cents. Yes. EPS a little bit down year over year. Revenues up year over year. I think still a double beat on both of those metrics, and that's why Teradyne is getting the pump. That's why Teradyne is getting the pump. Muckaby said, I bought 160, 1121 calls before the close. Well, there you go. You're deep in the money. 170 for Teradyne. 172. Yeah, that one's moving. That one is moving. Teradyne, that's up 19%. That is up 19% as well. Okay. I mean, what else is the reaction that everyone else had today? I think it was just one of those epic days where we had so much news to dissect and understand and discuss. I mean, it was a pretty remarkable day, and I think there's a lot of different moving parts. Not to mention, we got the rate cuts or the FOMC meeting tomorrow, so that's also going to be really important to navigate and see exactly what we've got going on. But we barely got to talk about China, but there were some good updates here. Here's what the Wall Street Journal reported, which seems to be positive for the bulls in regards to China tensions easing.
The Wall Street Journal out with some reporting this afternoon on possible concessions that each side might make if the U.S. and China do come to a trade deal this week. Now, officials have not confirmed these details to CNBC, but the Journal reports that the U.S. would roll back fentanyl tariffs back from 20 to as low as 10% if Beijing cracks down on exporting fentanyl precursor ingredients. The paper cites people familiar with the talks for those details. Now, the meeting between President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping is slated for late Wednesday evening U.S. time. And in the run-up to that, the president's been holding face-to-face meetings with leaders of Asian nations, setting up framework agreements that he hopes are going to buttress U.S. economic relationships in the region. He spoke to a group of business leaders in Tokyo this morning. That included Apple's Tim Cook, SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son, Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff, and others. The president touted a number of business development deals and said they're going to benefit American workers. Earlier, he flew to the aircraft carrier USS George Washington with Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi, where they inspected American fighter jets and the president greeted American troops. President Trump, Scott, also joking on this trip that he wants Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent to take over the Federal Reserve, but he said that Bessent wants to stay at Treasury. He did not tip his hand, though, about who he is ultimately going to select. Scott, back over.
So the reduction of those port fees, good for China. Trump signaling some announcements today that he thinks he's going to get a good meeting with Xi. That could also be good for NVIDIA, because right now NVIDIA is pumping without the China guidance. If we actually get the China chips back, that would be very bullish for NVIDIA. And so overall, that seems to be strong from a geopolitical perspective. But then you also get earnings like Caesars. Folks, Caesars down 9% after hours, and it's because the consumer, at least in Vegas, not doing the best. Same store net revenue, 952 versus 999. That's a miss. 2.87 billion versus 2.89. That's a miss. They lost 27 cents a share, operating income at 513 million, adjusted EBITDA at 884. The street thought they would come in at 940. CEO said our net revenues and adjusted EBITDA growth as a result of consistent operating trends and continued positive returns from our capital projects. As we look to the fourth quarter, we anticipate improved operating performance given stronger occupancy in Vegas. Volumes in our Caesars digital segment were strong, driven by continued product improvements, while adjusted EBITDA was negatively impacted. Dude, you know, Chris said this a long time ago, and I think he's right about this. I think the prediction markets are taking away market share from the hotels and from the casinos. Obviously, there's a lot of people that are not going to Vegas as much as well, and that's an issue. And then you have some issues with Canada and Vegas, and you're getting a lack of people traveling. But if people can just gamble on their phones, you know, maybe it takes away the need or the necessity to go to Vegas. I mean, when I went in September, and I know September is usually not the best, but when I went for the Hood Summit, it was dead. It was completely dead. And so that's sort of like, hey, let's go to Vegas, let's go have fun, let's go get drunk and get a bunch of friends and buddies to go down there. I mean, now people might just be doing that as a group with their phones and they have their prediction markets pulled up. Yeah, DraftKings too, dude. I don't want to say I'm bearish DraftKings because I don't understand their business. I just think the fact that they had to, wow, down 5% today. The fact that they had to acquire a prediction markets platform after for the past couple of years saying that prediction markets are not as sophisticated as what DraftKings offers just goes to show the consumer is picking prediction markets. That's what people love to bet on. And it's not really some of the other conventional things that people used to bet on. Nvidia, wow, 203.70. We hit 204, right? Yeah, we did hit 204.50, so a little bit of a red candle, but still holding above that 200 level. Deanna says, so true. The stock market is way better odds than Vegas. People should just trade for fun. I mean, that's also true. You have a lot better odds, sometimes even buying call options on earnings than gambling at Vegas. The hotel staff said it was more dead than usual. I asked them, Louis, that's the Nvidia Louis, right? Nvidia Louis, is that you? I think this is Mr. Nvidia Louis. He was at the Hood Summit. For those that don't know Nvidia Louis has 90,000 shares of Nvidia at a $2 average. So this has got to be a good day for you. This has got to be a good day for you. $12 on the day, up 6.3%. Oh, sorry, it's 100,000 shares. My bad. It's not 90,000. It's 100,000. Triple V has 100. I think he has 150,000 shares, but he bought them at 160. So today's probably a good day for him. That's wild, bro. I mean, there's not many names that take you on that journey where you buy it at $2 and it goes to 200. I mean, you got to really stick with the thesis. And from the conversations I've had with Louis, I mean, he was just obsessed with Nvidia back in 2016, and he told everyone he could about what was happening. It's got to be remarkable. It's got to be remarkable. Louis says cost base is around 1. Wow. Dude, and Louis, I know you don't sell a ton of covered calls, but with the covered calls you have sold, I would imagine if you're including that in the cost basis, it's probably even lower. It's not just the raw cost basis. And that is the American story. The American dream is you can take a chance on someone else instead of you being the entrepreneur, and because the country allows the freedom to go build. There's a shot you can build. Top growth experts, thank you for the 100 super chat. Amit, happy birthday for yesterday, man. Appreciate everything you do. Hope to catch up at a UK meetup. Much love to you, Michael Maven. Hoping to set up that UK meetup soon. Thank you again for the birthday wish. And yeah, excited to meet in the UK, hopefully in early 2026. Danielle, thanks for the super chat. The Fed plans to print 1.5 trillion after rate cuts. How will that affect the market? So it's not exactly that they're going to print 1.5 trillion. I think some of these numbers are coming up because people are doing the math on how much less quantitative tightening is going to happen, aka how much money gets pumped into the system. How will it affect the markets? It's good. I mean, when you have that much more liquidity and money becomes cheaper, assets go higher. Like assets kind of are programmed to go higher. Now, that doesn't mean we can't have a recession. It also doesn't mean that we won't end up into a broader asset bubble. But it does mean that in the short term, you're going to see asset prices likely catch a bid if you have so much money that is out there. The question is, can we grow GDP enough to make that happen? And also the question on inflation, because that's the biggest concern when you have all this money printing. I mean, one thing that Jensen kind of made clear today, even if it was implicitly, is that there is going to be a lot more deflation than we think simply based on the idea of how transformative AI is going to be. I mean, if he's right about where he thinks the market really is going when it comes to AI, we are going to see a lot of deflation, a lot of cost of goods start to come down, a lot of cost of labor obviously come down. And that's something I think we also can't ignore. Speaking of layoffs, I mean, I saw this today and I don't really know what to make of it yet. I haven't formed an opinion fully, but take a look at this. These were the recent layoff announcements we had over the past 2 weeks. So UPS and Amazon, we all covered. UPS, that is an accurate headline, 48,000, 30,000 operational, 18,000 corporate. Amazon says up to 30,000. They clarified it's more like 14,000 in corporate. Then you have Intel at 24,000, Nestle at 16,000, Accenture, consulting firm. We've seen a lot more of those layoffs at 11,000, Ford 11,000, Novo at 9,000, Microsoft. This was reported a couple months ago, but that's still 7,000. PwC, Salesforce, Paramount, Target, Kroger, Applied Metals, and then Meta. This was off their AI division. I don't know if this is a structural problem with demand in the economy creating layoffs, which is what we saw 3 years ago in 22. It feels like that's not the case given these earnings beats that we're seeing and all these CEOs and banks saying demand is fine, we have no issue, the consumer's fine, etc. It feels more like AI, and it feels more like PwC saying we don't need some of the people that we have, Salesforce saying we don't need some of the people that we have because they just don't need to do the job that an LLM could potentially do. And it is a scary thing to think about because you don't want to see anyone ever lose their job, but companies at the end of the day are going to do whatever they need to do to increase their margins, and cutting costs with labor is one of the easiest things they can do. And if they have a very simple replacement via AI, that's something I think everyone has to prepare for. And I don't know as a society how we're going to deal with it. I really don't. It's going to be a bit confusing in a variety of elements on what governments do, but nonetheless. Ruchil says, I survived this round of Amazon layoffs. Nobody from my team slept the whole night. People were online at 3 to 4 a.m. Okay, but Ruchil, you're an engineer, right? Does engineer get well, yeah, engineer is corporate. I mean, I think of corporate as management, but engineer is like, when we're talking about white collar job, if we put engineer in the same mix, yeah, I mean, dude, if they're getting ready to lay off 15,000 people, you got to be at the top of your game to not get hit, right? Engineers are part of it. Okay, so then, yeah, dude, that's definitely something that's scary. And again, like, it affects everyone in society. It's not just like, oh, if you keep your job and someone else loses their job, you're safe. It's like, yeah, in the short term, but that person is also contributing to the economy. And if they don't have a job and they don't have money to spend, that's not good for anybody. Like that, like the way capitalism works is you need everyone being productive and contributing. And without it, things can get hit. Louis says, I live in the same house I bought in 2016 for $200,000. Looking to move soon, though I'm in no rush. I was happy then. I'm happy now. Money's just a number. See, that's, look, Triple V would agree with you, Louis. I mean, at the end of the day, the number on the screen is not necessarily the path to happiness. Although you're looking at a pretty big number on the screen now. A pretty big number on the screen at this point. Amazon fired quietly a lot of people from Twitch. That actually, I feel like, is very believable because Twitch is just not a platform that's working for them. They bought it for $1 billion, and I don't think they monetized it over the past 10 years. Bitcoin 112.5. So it makes sense that they'd be trying to clean up in certain areas. And look, I do think for shareholders, if they're making these announcements, they're basically trying to tell the market, we are ready to get our stock to move higher, and we're taking like very significant cost-cutting measures to make sure it happens. It's just the opposite perspective on that is that, hey, maybe the business is not doing so well and you have to cut these costs in order to match some of the metrics that you need to get up to. We're going to find out on Thursday what Amazon says, but it's not good for anyone. It is not good for anyone. Amit, I work at a Dow 30 company, and they recently offered anyone with more than 10 years with the company voluntary separation agreements. Wow. Wow. When he means Dow 30, he's talking about one of the 30 companies in the Dow Jones. Yeah, I mean, this layoff thing, guys, we got to pay attention to it. We got to pay attention to it. It seems like after Amazon and UPS made the announcement, we started seeing a lot more over the past couple months. And now, and again, a lot of these are consulting firms and companies where it's obvious that AI is going to replace some of these employees, but The other companies, it's a question of just like, hey, is there a broader structural issue going on? Defaults on loans are going up. Yes. See, like we see all these charts about defaults on loans and things of that nature, but then you see the big banks come out and say that the delinquency rates are lower than expected. So it's hard to kind of match up exactly with how this is playing out. But nonetheless, this stuff is indeed happening. These jobs will never come back. Well, that's the scariest part about it. I mean, dude, like I remember when I was in high school and I had little projects, or not high school, in college, I would hire people from the Philippines on Upwork and Fiverr to like do little graphic designs for me. That I will never have to do that ever. Like I will go to ChatGPT or Grok and just say, hey, like, give me a picture of a cake. And like, I never have to ask someone to do that. It's like, that's done. And it's not like that entire industry is wiped out, but the average person like myself signing up to Fiverr and actually making an account and going through that process, like some of these jobs are not coming back. They're not. I don't know what the implications that will have on society. Swift, thank you for the gifted 5 memberships. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the gifted 5. Muckabee, thank you for the $20 super chat. Congrats on Palantir and Nvidia partnership. Both big positions in your portfolio. Just need Jensen to partner with Hood. Also, happy belated birthday. Muckabee, thank you so much. And thank you for being part of the channel. Dude, if Jensen just said Robinhood or Grab, I would have actually... If Jensen had said Grab, I would have gone to Southeast Asia and got a tattoo of Grab on my ass. I would have done it. But he didn't say it. So unfortunately, it's not happening. Unfortunately, it's not happening. This freaking stock, dude. If I had put the money I have in Grab and Nvidia or Palantir or Hood or Iran or Nebius or all these other freaking stocks that have taken off, it would have made, the year to dates. Oh, let's do year to dates. We haven't even done year to dates over the past week because I missed Friday. So let's do year to dates. But it would have made the year to date better. But I do think this quarter could be a quarter that really can change the narrative on Grab. I don't know, but we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see. I also think, again, I just really think that them toying with it at 630, 640, then back to 570, I really think it's nonsense. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. There's no fundamental reason behind it. So I think that's more shaking out the weak hands. And it's annoying to deal with. It's what you have to do. I dealt with it with Hood. I dealt with it with Palantir. A lot of you dealt with it with SoFi. But then you get a big daddy quarter that shuts everybody up. And hopefully we can get that from Grab next Monday. All right, my year-to-date, 178. 178 on the year-to-date. Dude, back on October 10th, this thing went back down to like 120. I think the highest we were at was 204 at one point. This thing went back down to 120. So it's been a wild swing over the past 3 weeks, but we're back to 178. Yeah, dude, I'm seeing a lot of triple digits right here. Carlos 373, Uzi 47, Quantess 477. She's crushed it with Quantum this year and a variety of other plays. Size 181, Tim 141, Shub 600. I mean, dude, these are wild numbers. If you are anything above 18%, you are beating the S&P. Just remember that. You have to beat 18% to justify not putting your money. If you can do 18% this year, you can justify not putting your money in the S&P and staring at candlesticks all day. You got to just beat that number to be able to say it's okay for me to stare at candlesticks all day. Tess said no options, no leverage. Well, that's even more impressive because I know a lot of us definitely use options to help magnify the gains. So that's incredible. Austin 101. There you go. Austin right there. Triple digits now year to date. Again, he was pounding the table on the Googs. And that one has very well worked out. Alex at 43, Legit Scott at 158, Danielle at 78, incredible. Stav at 768, Flyjack 706. Thank you, Nvidia, Nebius, Hood. It's amazing, dude. Absolutely amazing. I think if we were to end the year today, all of us would be pretty happy. If we ended on October 10th, we would have been pretty upset. But if we end the year here, it's not too bad. And then look, if you got 7,000 coming up, you got rate cuts coming up, and you got these earnings that are going to crush, maybe these numbers can continue to expand. I don't want to be greedy, but like maybe there's a real shot that these numbers have some room left to expand going into the end of the year. But we just got to get good earnings. Doug's at 212. That's incredible. Ty at 137, Steven at 56, June at 75. Yeah, dude. I mean, I think the average here has to be around that 40, 50%. So incredible, incredible stuff. Absolutely incredible. All right, let's bring on Mr. Steven Fiorillo, get his thoughts on one of the craziest days in AI today. Steve, what's up?
What's up, Matt?
Dude, what a day.
Can I
Like,
tell
what
you
a freaking day.
So can I tell you something? Wait, before you show this, go back to the regular screen. Not only do I have the whole milk light side, okay, we're not going dark side because it's a great day. A blueberry loaf also.
A blueberry loaf?
A blueberry loaf. Fresh out of the oven.
Did your wife make that?
Freaking amazing.
Dude, it's made with love too. Now you got it. You got to enjoy that.
Freaking amazing.
Loaf and milk. Okay. Is that what was your announcement? You said you had an announcement.
Yep. Got an announcement. We're gonna break it on AK Media live.
Wait, hold on. This is like a legit. You're not trolling. This is like a legit announcement.
No, why would I be trolling?
Okay, so hold on. Before you say it, is it stock market related, life related?
Yes. Stock market related.
Stock market. Okay, let's give everyone 2 minutes to guess what the announcement is. So put in the chat. What do you think? Dude, you better not disappoint. This better not be a stupid announcement. Now we're hyping it up now. So this better be good. He bought Robinhood. He's coming out with a milk brand. Oh, I'm gonna guess. I'm probably wrong. I'm gonna guess you finally bought Palantir. But I really doubt at 190 he would pull the trigger on Palantir. He bought SoFi. He already has SoFi. He bought Grab. There's no way in hell he bought Grab. He bought PayPal. Quit his job. Well, he's saying it's a stock market announcement. So it's about a stock, right? Or can we guess more broadly?
You do whatever you want, buddy.
You're really enjoying that blueberry loaf, bro. You're really.
It is so good.
All right, go for it. What's the announcement? What do we got?
Well, as you know, I took off today. I may have watched more CNBC today than I have in the past week. And I've come to a conclusion. We're not bullish enough. And how about this? There's a world where we hit 7,000 on Friday. There is also a world, I can't believe I'm going to freaking say this with conviction, like not trolling. I can't believe I'm going to say it because if I say it, I can't take it back, right? I feel like the words that want to come out of my mouth is I have to raise my end of year target to 7,200 if this week goes well, because, and here's why, I don't see anything taking this market down if we get out of this week in the green. And here's why. You got a rate cut in the big five. If they smash, we're at just under 6,900. You don't have to, you could get 2 good days and be at 7,000 at this point.
Okay, so I'm going to do a poll in the chat, but before I do the poll, give me your number. Are you saying, you're not officially saying it, but are you saying 7,200?
I'm not officially saying it, but I'm saying that if this week goes well, I will be upping my price target for end of year. And I'm not taking that lightly.
Okay, so 7,200 end of year, yes or no? What do people think?
Do you think that's crazy to even think about at this point?
Well, obviously as the market goes up, like this is the fallacy of price targets. It becomes very easy to see a price target up or down if the stock or the market goes in the direction you want. So it's not that hard to see 7,200 because we're inching towards 7,000. It was harder back when it was 5,000, right?
Right.
So it would be a lot harder to see 7,000 if we were at 5,500. So, or 6,500. So I don't think that's crazy, but I think your logic makes sense because you have rate cuts and then the big five. And if they crush, which given these smaller companies, I don't know how they don't.
If they crush, it should take the market higher. And then in November, you get Broadcom and freaking Nvidia for the end of the year tailwinds. And how about
by the way,
this? In this market, I don't know that you get a real tax loss harvesting season because nobody's gonna want to fucking pay taxes on this stuff. How about that?
They said call him Steve Lee.
We changed my name to Steve Lee.
Well, even Tom Lee doesn't have 72. He has 7,000 still. So
right, but I was
whenever this stuff happens and we have this conversation, there is a little bit of euphoria on a good day that we all feel. And so I don't want to say 72, 73 because I do feel like that's getting very aggressive. However, to your point, you got the rate cut and then you got earnings. And then you got Nvidia that just said they're going to do Did you just hear that number? 500 billion in 5 quarters is what Nvidia said.
Dude, your chat is freaking amazing. Like, they're the best. They are the freaking best. Steve Thomas Milk Lee. The best.
The China deal as well. Yes, China deal is also really important.
Like, I've been trying to blow a hole in my theory about what could possibly take this market down. I'm not. The only thing that I can see is if the Fed says we're shook, we're not cutting.
Take a look at this. We got our Cactus Jack update right here. For those that don't know, Cactus Jack is our personal Bloomberg. So whenever you see an update from him, it is him getting the news and putting it out there. Wow. U.S. Agricultural Secretary Rollins says soybean agreement with China is almost finalized.
And you got soybeans.
Where's the S&P? On the S&P 687, you got a candle. Again, soybeans, rate cuts, earnings. You've got some good news. My only other fear is that it might be priced in over the next coming weeks. I don't think it necessarily is, but if it is, you could get a little bit of a just stagnation in the market. But if we stagnate around 6,900, 6,950, like that's okay. You know, eventually you can make that move.
Yeah, but how about this? In a world where people, like, think about it. Everybody in your run this poll, Amit, is anybody tax loss harvesting or taking profits by end of the year at this point? I'm willing to bet people that are up 300, 400, 500% on stuff have no interest in selling and paying that tax this year. So if you don't have people doing that, and a lot of these people don't have losses that they would even consider offsetting. So if you don't get a tax loss harvesting season the way that you have in the past, and then there's just money coming into the market, at some point, it's going to go from 7.4 to 6.4 trillion in money market accounts because there's less of a reason to stay there. I'm just, at this point, not really seeing anything that's going to hold us back, unless something out of the blue happens that we can't handicap. But it's not even November yet, and we hit 6,900.
Yeah, and Nvidia busted through basically 5 trillion on not even earnings. I mean, that is, it's hard to say that's bearish, dude. It really is.
You know, and you know the next question is, if Nvidia holds this, when does Apple and Microsoft hit 5 trillion? And then is there a catch-up trade in Amazon and Alphabet and Meta?
You know, Apple hit 4 trillion today too, right?
I know, and that's why I said the next question is going to be, when do they hit 5? And then when do the others hit 3? This could be a free train that doesn't freaking stop. There's a ton of money on the sidelines.
Let me ask you this: are you selling any Nvidia?
No, I considered.
I considered a couple weeks ago too, but I didn't.
Right. So
I'm happy I did it.
I loosely considered today selling 10% to move it into QXO, but I didn't.
Why? Why didn't you?
Because of the damn chart. That's why. And I got a little greedy.
Well, I like, dude, put in the chat if anyone's selling a bit. I like when you hear what Jensen says and you look at their forward multiple and you look at the technology that, like, we're tech investors. When you see that, you're like, how do I fade that? Like, how do I actually say
you actually
don't
say that?
No, you don't. I agree.
Robots aren't even here yet.
Yeah, and I mean that's a whole nother vertical as well. Okay, so we'll get back to Nvidia in a second, but I mean you just put an article on SoFi. I'm gonna link the article for those that want to read it. Now that you've had 10 hours to digest it, how are you feeling about the quarter?
I can tell you I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out before. If you go read this article, I'm back in the camp that we're hitting 45.
Do you feel like you're a little bit of a flip-flopper when it comes to SoFi? Because on SoFi Weekly, you were like, 45, get the hell out. Now you're like, well, and that's okay. I'm a flip-flopper on a bunch of different stocks too, but like, do you feel you have that love-hate relationship with SoFi?
I don't have a love-hate relationship. I have a reality relationship until Noto changes my freaking mind with how good their damn earnings are. And the things that put it over the top for me, stablecoin, global payments, crypto by end of year, level 1 options already. So there's a lot of it right now. So
a lot of that was known before the quarter, though. It's not like that's brand new.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know they were doing stablecoin stuff?
There was nothing official about that.
I mean, they definitely mentioned it a couple. Yeah, but that's fair. They talked a lot more about it today. That's fair.
Look, next quarter will be a $1 billion quarter. Think about it. They hit 950 in revenue this quarter. There's no way they don't come out Q4 over $1 billion. And then every quarter going forward is going to be more than $1 billion.
So you think it's possible? So I did learn this last night, and this actually got me on your side of the camp from what you said on SoFi Weekly. I don't even know if you probably know this, but it doesn't have to just get to 45. It has to stay at 45. So that means by March, and if it doesn't get to 45 by March, it's got to be at like 75 for a couple weeks to balance out the volume weighted
out. Oh yeah. The volume has to be an average of 45 for 90 days.
I'm not saying it's not possible, but that's 4 months for them to make that move, which means it's got to happen like soon.
I thought that they had no freaking chance. Now, I'm 1 foot back in on this. This could happen.
And then the broader reason is you think crypto, stablecoin, and more payment infrastructure is the catalyst.
Yeah, and look, here's the other thing. As a nationally chartered bank, they can increase the spread on their net interest margin as interest rates fall, because if they have fixed loans and not floating rate that they already put out, they're collecting that fee and then paying less on the deposits.
Yeah.
So they automatically increase their spread on the NIM.
That's fair. That's a good point.
That means that their banking profitability goes through the roof.
Okay, so would you buy at 31?
Look, I'm not personally buying it, but I'm no longer considering selling it.
Makes sense.
And you know what was the big thing today? The reversal. Staring at the chart, because I never look at charts. I never follow this stuff because I'm in meetings all day. Sitting here in front of a computer the whole time and trying not to look at my email, even though I took 2 meetings and sent like 5 emails. Even though I did that, I had a lot of time to stare at charts and reflect. I'm sitting there watching SoFi, and I'm like, this thing's crashing. It's going to 25. The next thing I see it get backstopped and then fly. This ain't going to 25.
For those that don't know, this was Steve's first day in what, 10 years, taking a day off?
Not 10 years, but since last year, I think. Last winter.
It's been a year.
I got sick over the summer, so I had to take a couple of sick days. I got violently sick.
No, but I'm not talking about that. When's the last time you took a day off to do something fun, like SoFi earnings? Like, when's the last time you did that type of a day off?
I don't know, last year.
Okay, so it's been about a year since you took it. And you took it off for now.
I lose vacation time every year because I never take days off. Because when I take days, I'm going to go back tomorrow and I'm going to have 300 or 400 emails I have to read through. plus all the other work I gotta get done. So
You guys are nuts to call earnings fun. No, they're fun. It's just
there's
gut
so
wrenching.
much fun. Are you kidding me? So much fun.
All right, so
Now,
when are
granted,
you?
the SoFi earnings call was a little tedious, but in general, earnings are very fun.
When are you quitting the job and going YouTube full time? Because it obviously seems like you like doing this.
It's
So
not happening.
you don't think there's ever a world where you?
I mean, if I start having viewership like yours, it could be a conversation, I guess.
No, but even to get there, you gotta take the risk, right?
No shit. That's why I'm saying I don't think anytime. I don't think it's happening. I did enjoy going live in the middle of the day for 45 minutes, though, when you guys weren't live. Because I don't want to freaking go live when you guys are live. So I went live for like 45 minutes. It was fun.
Wait, I didn't get your thoughts on, I mean, dude, we've been waiting for this day forever. It happened.
What happened?
What do you mean, what happened?
What are we talking about?
Jensen finally said Palantir.
Yeah, and he says the most important software stack there is.
Did you not have one of those moments when you heard this, or?
No, I think we all knew it.
But you still did it. Like, did your heart? Like, my heart was beating, but did that? Like, did you not? Like, did you not?
It's something that we all know. It was good validation for the community.
I feel like you didn't care.
It was really good validation for the community.
I feel like Steve didn't care. He was like, all right, cool, whatever. Dude, that was fun. Jensen finally mentioning, and then Karp and him on CNBC together. Like,
I saw it.
Been waiting so long for this.
I saw it. I'm surprised you don't already have it as a poster in your room. Like, I'm surprised it's not behind you as a poster already.
I mean, bro, I already have him as the background. Like, I mean,
I know, but like, so you should what you should do is play the clip, get a still of them sitting there together, send it to Kinko's, and have them make like a beautiful thing for you to hang up.
I should.
You should.
All right. So the big news of the day, Nvidia basically said AI is real. They reminded everybody, increased guidance.
What's the bear case? Tell me what the bear case is. Like, we've been trying to figure out the bear case, and guess what? When you blow up a balloon, like, in order for a bubble to pop, right, it needs to pop. So if we look at this as a balloon, what happens before a balloon pops? It expands, and it expands. What part of the cycle are we in blowing up a balloon, Amit?
Look, the only thing I could have pointed to a couple weeks ago was that there are some speculative companies that are running on, no revenue, no earnings, et cetera. However, a lot of those came down. They're starting to normalize. They're not like up as much as they were before. And again, even if they were, to your point you made a couple weeks ago, who cares if anything happens to them, because they're not Amazon, Nvidia, Meta, Google, et cetera. I don't see that as bubblish. I really don't.
Nope, because they could get cut in half. They could get cut by 75%. It doesn't freaking matter. They're not part of the S&P. They're not part of the Dow. They're not part of the NASDAQ 100. Who cares?
And also, they could get a deal that justifies their market cap tomorrow if they're in a sector that is so important when it comes to AI, energy, for example, that could change everything. So there's a lot of nuance to some of these companies. Then when you look to the Max 7, the only one that's not really growing is Tesla, but Tesla just has so much potential that, yeah, you can say the valuation is aggressive, but you can't say it's a bubble. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that.
It's an aggressive valuation based on what may happen. But at the same time, where's the bear case? It doesn't seem like we have any international fears at this point. It doesn't feel like we're in a trade war. Earnings are strong. You may have real productivity enhancements on a broader market. There's a lot of things to look forward to. The two things that get me worried still are unemployment and the potential of recession next year. But I don't even know if we have a recession that even needs to matter for the stock market. And I hate saying that. But how much of the stock market profits are driven by corporate America instead of individuals?
What about a lot of people are saying Trump could tweet? That could.
Sure, he could tweet, and then he's going to tweet something else in an hour or the next day. Think about the Friday sell-off and the Monday recovery. I mean, if we know anything about Trump, he uses social media as a freaking bargaining chip.
Yeah. I agree. And if he tweets something, dude, Trump loves the stock market being up, so he does not want.
And we're going into midterms. You really think that they're going to crash the stock market for midterms?
All right, so risk on.
I feel like we're going back into risk on. I hate saying it, but you know what? We're in 1989. I'm not going to stop saying it. I really don't think that we've left for the party yet.
I don't know if we're in 1989. I think with the amount of CapEx that's been spent, it's hard for me to say we're that early.
But it's not just about CapEx. Think about what needs to happen now. You need a full-on robotic overhaul. Full-blown AI implementation. Think about what that runway is going to look like.
Oh, that's what
You
that runway.
You still have companies doing a cloud build-out.
I would say there's sectors of the market that are 1989 because LLMs you cannot say are 1989. I mean, when we're seeing Grok 4, that's not the beginning of the party. There's no way. That's the worst it's ever going to be. But I think the party started. With robots, I think we're at the beginning of the party. I agree. But then again, you had a robot company that shipped a robot today for $20,000, Neo.
Okay, so what about full self-driving? What about all the productivity gains?
Full self-driving is not 1989, dude. Where FSD 14 is very
Dude, you can't take a nap in your car yet.
Yeah, but that's not 10 years away.
I get that. What I'm saying is 1989 is the revenue expansion and profitability expansion.
No, but that implies there's at least a 5 to 10 year cycle for that. I think Tesla FSD in the next 2 years. If it's not unsupervised in 2 years, there's an issue. And it's not a tech problem. It seems to be more regulatory and all the other concerns they have.
I just think that we're in a golden age of technology right now.
Oh, that I agree with.
And it's crazy to say because of the amount of technological advancements we've seen. But I look at it from when we were in 2005, smartphones weren't even a thing yet. Okay, you had Palm Pilots and Blackberries. It was amazing. You get your email on a cell phone. And then Jobs came out with the first iPhone. And then you got cloud, and then you got SaaS. And in the 2010s, the rate of expansion. We're seeing such a bigger multiple on expansion right now, not on price, but just how much freaking technological innovation we're having, that I truly think the next 5 to 10 years is going to be like something we've never seen before.
Well, that I agree with. And, whether it's the very beginning or very early, it's definitely not the end. That I think everyone can agree with. And it's probably, if it's not the middle, then it's closer to the beginning than in the middle. Because basically we're making a metaphor for, are we late cycle or not?
Correct. We're beginning cycle.
Right. And in a bull market, it's hard. This is why Tom Lee says it's the most hated market, because it's hard to be late cycle. Or it's hard to be early cycle when you're at all-time highs. You're supposed to be towards the end of a bull run. But we had that 30% drawdown in April, which ironically starts a new bull market historically after you have that drawdown, especially if you're able to hold a recovery after 6 weeks. And then 2, as you're saying with the technological shifts, LLMs, FSD, eVTOLs, robotics, drug discovery, all that stuff has at least 5 to 10 years of really being having runway to expand. And that means this whole cycle might have a lot more time as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have this conversation with Ives so I could just be like to him, dude, 1996, we're not even at dinner, dude. We're still at freaking happy hour at the bar at 4 p.m. Like,
if you had to
this bullish on tech.
If you had to steel man yourself, why are we not at happy hour? Why are we at the party?
I'm not going to do it because there's no logical explanation for me. Because here's why. Coca-Cola, Walmart, Costco. None of these companies are using robotics in their warehouses.
It's fair. That's
None
fair.
of these companies are freaking utilizing any of this stuff. You're going to see a gigantic overhaul going over the next 5 to 10 years that we're truly not ready for, or we're not allowing our minds to agree with, but it's happening. We're seeing it happen with Amazon. They're the litmus test. And keep in mind, what Amazon has today, if you bring up a video at JD.com from like 2017, 2018, China was so far ahead of us on this. JD had fully robotics warehouses back in 2017, 2018. So I'm telling you, we are just scratching the surface on all this.
If we are just scratching the surface on all this, then, I mean, what? Do you think Nvidia is going to 20 trillion?
I think they're the one key to rule them all at this point. One ring to rule them all, Infinity Gauntlet.
For them to get to 10 trillion, there's a lot. I mean, see, well, here's the litmus test on this whole cycle question. It's like, all right, well, let me ask what you think. In how long will Nvidia be putting up a couple $100 billion of revenue because of selling GPUs? How many years do you think?
Well, a couple is 2. So you want to say several?
No, I'm saying couple $100 billion in revenue, right? So several, whatever. Like 10 years?
3 to 4.
That doesn't make sense then if we're early cycle.
What do you mean?
How can we be in 1989 and NVIDIA only has 3 years of putting up?
No. You said, when do they get to that point?
No, I'm saying right now they're doing about 200 billion of revenue a year, right?
No. Well, this year they're going to do 206. Yes.
Okay. So my question is, how many years does NVIDIA have of them doing at minimum 200 billion or more of revenue?
Dude, at least a decade or 2.
Well, I feel like you have to believe that, right? If you think we're early. I agree.
Have you looked at the analyst expectations for revenue?
Well, I know Jensen destroyed all those expectations today.
This is going to freak you out if you really haven't looked at it. Bring up my screen, sir. So you got out in 20, and keep in mind, when this is a year back, because they don't report on a calendar year, they end their fiscal year in January. So January 26 is really the 2025 fiscal year. So in 2028, okay, you still have 5 analysts saying that they're going to do 350 billion. That's a 75% increase from where you are this year.
That's true. That's true.
Okay. And then you have 3 analysts that say they're going to do 378 in 2029. And then 2 that are saying you're going to get to 400 in 2030. That's doubling in the next 5 years.
Who's the one guy saying they're going to do 700 billion in 2035? That is wild.
I don't like going out more than 3 or 4 years, because you really get to where only like the most Super Bowl people are actually putting stuff out there. But even if you just want to look 2 years out after this year, you got 32 people, 32 analysts on the street saying that we're going to grow by 60% over the next 2 years with revenue.
Yeah, it is hard. It is really hard to sell NVIDIA if they can live up to those expectations.
And think about this. They got a 55% profit margin. Let's just say they maintain a 50% to keep the numbers easy, right? That's not operating. That's profit.
That's net income. Yeah.
So on just 300 billion, that's 150 billion net income.
And they're trading at 5 trillion. So what's that multiple? You said 150 billion, 33 times.
Dude, they're not expensive.
33 times is not. I mean, what that 150 billion? That's for 28 or 27 or 29,
27.
27. Okay, so they're trading at 33 times. That's not.
Dude, on an EPS metric right now, they're trading at 25 times on just EPS.
And by the way, everything you just showed, all of it is without China.
Is without China. So, I mean, Yeah, do I sound crazy to people who aren't really following things closely? Sure, I could maybe sound crazy right now. But if you really take a step back and think about what I'm saying and look at the numbers, I mean,
It's a good point.
why do we think that it's 1996 or 1997? Why do we think there's 3 years left? You're telling me that everybody's going to have a freaking robot in 3 years? Companies aren't even going to have what their freaking production orders are.
I actually, after looking at the numbers as you're breaking them down, it's hard to really say it's 96 when you think in the next 3 years, this stuff is just getting started, especially from an EPS standpoint. No, it's
And I keep getting this thing going in my mind that technological advances do not slow down, they only accelerate.
Of course.
And when I look at the rate of change with just a CPU, the Commodore 64, which I had when I was a kid, to a 286, to a 386, to a 486, and then they went to the Pentium chip. And then all the other chips after that, and now what we have now, this is just a rate of change that is so crucial. I don't see that this is stopping anytime soon. I really don't. There's nothing that is going to derail this unless we go to war at this point, or rare earth minerals and we can't make enough chips. Those are the only two things that can stop this at this point, because every company is spending on this, and we have not had a broad market rally. And then do we really think in 10 years from now, we're going to have humans working at McDonald's or stocking shelves at Target? You're telling me that that's not going to be all robotics?
Okay, so let's transition to that, I guess, bear case that you've had for a while, which is labor market. I feel like that's the only thing that can really dethrone your thesis right now.
Yeah, look, I think we need UBI. I really do. I hate saying it. Tell me what the alternative is.
You got to tax.
I mean, you saw this.
The only alternative is you have a humanoid robot tax or something, right?
But how can you even make enough money from a humanoid robot tax to fix the problem? I mean, bring up that list of jobs, or like, what are all these people going to do at once? And think about this. This is the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. No.
So let's play this out, right? You get full self-driving. Let's be conservative. 8 years from now, you would say probably nationalized, allowed, people feel comfortable using it in 8 years. 2035?
I would hope it's earlier than that, but yes, I would say so.
Okay. 2035. You now have nobody driving Uber. You have nobody driving Lyft. You have nobody driving taxis. And potentially you have nobody driving all the trucks there doing all the deliveries. Within that 8 years, now you have humanoid robotics in the vehicles, trucking mainly, to take care of all the deliveries, loading and unloading. So what about all those jobs? What about McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King? You're telling me that that's not going to be automated? What about stocking shelves at Target? So you're telling me that all these jobs are still going to exist in 10 years?
And there's no way they're ever coming back once they're replaced.
No, absolutely not.
I don't know, dude. It is a scary world to think about. Like, jobs at the end of the day provide humans something to do. You know, I mean, if you don't have it's one of those things where not everyone can just, sit around, be on a screen, invest for a living. Like, this stuff is not real for
people in the chat are saying robot maintenance. It's going to be done by robots. The same way that they're going to walk to a charger and just sit down and charge themselves, they're going to be able to do maintenance on themselves. Eventually, you're going to have robotic surgeons. You already have it through Intuitive Surgical. You just have a human controlling it. You're telling me that by 2040 or 2045, you're not going to have full robotic surgeries? Unmanned?
No, I see ISRG is already working on a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of different things that are happening right now that are laying the framework to make this happen. The only answer most of us can have, because we don't have an answer for what the world looks like, is invest in those companies. That's it. Like if Amazon's going to lay off 600,000 people, you got to have some Amazon stock.
Yeah, but half of the freaking country doesn't even own stock.
Well, I get it.
There's a big problem right now, and unfortunately, we're not in a situation to really find our way out of it, because this is gonna. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, but I don't see how this is going to end with an abundance of jobs, and I don't know how you're going to tax robots and how that money's going to get dispersed.
Elon did say the cost of goods will go down so dramatically that people won't need as much money through deflation, and jobs are optional.
Okay, what about the cost of property, the cost of doing things? Tell me all that's just going to go down?
I don't know. It's not easy to see it.
I don't see it.
I do have optimism in humanity, though. Like I think there's a world in which we figure it out. I mean, we've always figured it out, right? As a human species.
We've never seen anything like this before. This is dramatically different than the Industrial Revolution.
Well, and that's a good point, because what this is doing is quite literally creating intelligence artificially. So like if the one thing about humans that was always genuine was the fact that we are beings that can think and reason, that's what differentiates us from a lot of other species. If that's replicated, it takes away a lot of the specialness of being a human. And I mean, we don't even want to get into the conversation of what that means for relationships. I mean, I cannot believe that the tech companies and Sam Altman are so focused on making sure that people can have AI girlfriends and boyfriends. Because I just like objectively, we know that is going to decrease the birth rate. And
have they actually put that out yet?
Didn't we talk about it? Sam Altman literally said we are coming out with a quote unquote adult mode.
I thought that was a joke.
No, and he firmly said we are not the moral police of the world. There's a lot. There was actually a study yesterday that said there's like 2.4 million queries a month on ChatGPT that are explicitly rooted in people talking about their depression. And so OpenAI is trying to figure out about like how do we manage this AI talking to someone who's in a horrible spot in their mind. And so because of that situation, Sam Altman came out and said we're going to create an adult mode, and we're going to try to create some restrictions of the mental health stuff. And the adult mode, basically admitting you can create this character via ChatGPT and you can talk to it however you want. And they're not going to stop it.
Great.
Because it is going to be massive engagement for the platform, and they need to turn a profit because they've promised hundreds of billions of dollars of revenue. So
all I can tell you is it is going to get even more socially awkward out there.
Oh, yeah.
That's scary.
Again, I think the only thing we all can do, because we don't have the answers to how this plays out, is you got to own some stock. You just have to. You just have to. You got to own these companies. I mean, we've seen it over the past 5 years, right? If you own assets, you've done well. If you don't, it's really tough.
Yeah, it's always been like that, though.
Yeah. It's just now that stocks have gone mainstream, people have really felt the brutality of their neighbor getting rich and them not. I think more ever in history, people have started to feel, damn it, Johnny invested in Nvidia. He was telling me about it. I didn't really care about learning about the stock market. And now, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. This guy is freaking up 80% in a year. That shit hurt.
I don't talk about stocks really unless it's with you and Chris and Matt and Tanner and the guys. Like, people think I'm freaking nuts. Like, nobody wants to talk about stocks or anything. I don't understand why.
Dude, you're not the only one. I mean, I think the majority of us in this chat come here every day because we don't have people to talk to. And if we try, dude, I texted my sister. So I texted my sister a screenshot of her Robinhood portfolio because she doesn't even check it. And she's up $93,000 on Nvidia. She has 1,500 shares at 139 that I bought for her a couple months ago. So I'm like, you're up 44%, 93,000. This was her response.
Cool. Oh, wow. Nice.
It's like I showed her a cupcake or something. She's like, wow, a cupcake. Like, bro, that's almost $100,000 on a stock that she doesn't even know what the hell they do. She's up 14,000 today, and she's like, cool, whatever. This is my point. It's like if my own sister, who's up almost 6 figures on a company she doesn't even know about, she didn't ask me a follow-up question. She didn't ask me like, oh, cool, like what happened today? Why are they up so much? No, she doesn't give a shit. Like if you're up that much money and you still don't care, I can't imagine someone who doesn't have those gains. Why would they care?
Money's not real.
Money's not real.
Until it is, right?
Until it is.
It's crazy. People just...
The point is, I think all of us are here because we know how important it is to invest. And in the next 10 years, it might be the most important thing to have assets and allocation to assets. It really might be the most important thing.
How about this? It may be crazy to say this. S&P 10,000 is coming sooner than people think. I'm going to say it.
So you went from 7,000 to 7,200 to... Is that there's a little spike in that milk or something? What do we get? 10,000 end of year? Is that what we're doing?
Finish the milk. And by the way, guys and gals, I don't appreciate the comments that I'm racist because I'm drinking white milk. You know,
I agree with them, to be honest. I kind of agree.
But I drink chocolate milk half the time.
Yeah, but whenever it's on stream, it's always white for some
That's
reason.
not true. That is absolutely not true. On Saturday night, I had chocolate milk with me.
Steve, you are now a public figure.
Listen,
Your actions really matter. Okay?
Listen, chocolate milk. I just didn't feel like grabbing the chocolate milk this time.
Or maybe you have a subliminal bias towards an unconscious bias.
No. You know what it is? When you're eating a blueberry loaf, you don't want chocolate milk. You want regular milk. But chocolate milk is freaking amazing. But not when you're whatever.
Wait, he said 8,000 this morning. What have you been saying all day?
I did not say 8,000.
What have you been shouting
8,000.
all day
Hold
on
on.
YouTube?
I did not say 8,000 this morning. What I was going to say is...
Yo, they're ratting on you. You were saying a bunch of numbers all day.
I did not say 8,000 this morning. You were with me this morning.
People,
I would remember saying 8,000.
You probably said it. You forgot because you're just throwing out all these numbers all day now. You forgot.
I definitely didn't.
Okay, so 10,000. Why?
No, 10,000 by 2030.
So that's 5 years, 4 years from now.
4 years, 2 months.
So that would be a 42% move.
That's not even crazy. Think about that.
Well, given we've been having 20% moves for the past basically 3 years.
Right. That's not even crazy.
It's not that crazy.
I mean, can you believe that we're even going to have a discussion, 10,000 or not, by the end of the decade?
By the way, I'm pretty sure there's a clip, if I'm not wrong, of Tom Lee saying 15,000 by 2030.
I mean, that would be freaking ridiculous if that happened.
Dude, I am pretty sure I remember this clip. Tom Lee, S&P 15,000.
Everybody who's been investing in S&P index funds in their retirement would be so freaking happy over the next 5 years.
I have it. Yeah. I mean, people would be very happy if that is how it plays out.
Previously predicted that the S&P would reach 15,000 by 20. Have you moderated it in any way? If so, how? And what are some of the key drivers that support your forecast?
Yeah, that's still our case, our base case. By 2030, we estimate S&P earnings could be 600 to 650. And I think multiples will be higher because of the larger share coming from AI and technology earnings, which naturally have higher PE multiples. And so if you just apply a 20 to 25 multiple, you're getting, 15,000. So I know it sounds like people say, well, 15,000 sounds crazy. And 2 years ago, it might have sounded crazy, even though that forecast was in place more than 2 years ago. That forecast has been in place probably for 5 or 6 years. But, now that we're at 6,000, we're that much closer to 15,000. It's not a quantum leap any longer.
You're not as bullish as Tom, Steve.
Do I need to go 12.5?
Dude, we can only get away with a conversation like this when Nvidia hits all-time highs and we have a green day. Otherwise, if we were having this conversation, everyone in the chat would be like, these fucking dumbasses going back and forth about 15,000, 20,000. Only on a day like this is it somewhat listenable. Only on a day like this. By the way, your dairy dealer's in the chat.
Yeah, and he's lying.
You've never bought.
I have the chocolate milk in the fridge. Do I need to go get it? Like, I legitimately have it.
You never show it on stream. It's just always the white one.
Of course I do.
Siege, thank you for the $20 super chat. Cool. Same thing my sister said. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the super chat as well. Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, agree. A week ago, no one was talking like this, but things change in a week. When Jensen ups his estimates by 100 billion, it can change stuff.
I don't even know what to say anymore. This is pretty crazy.
Well, look, I'm happy I own Nvidia. I'm happy you own Nvidia. I'm happy we both bought as much as we could. There's a lot of people that bought derivative plays from Nvidia. Today's news was really important for all of that.
I mean, I have a question for you. What are you doing tonight?
Nothing. Today's Tuesday.
So I'm going to do an impromptu stream tonight, and I got Chef Paul coming on. If you would like to talk about steaks with us, you're more than welcome.
I will listen in the chat to hear you guys talk about how you shouldn't cook a steak, because I know that medium well, in my perspective, is not really.
Yeah, but you had medium when we went to Uncle Jack's, and I think you liked it.
I did. I mean, it ended up being medium rare. So
that was not medium rare, sir. That was medium.
No, it was medium rare. We both looked. It was medium rare.
Mine was medium. So was yours.
This is not medium, bro. This is not medium. What are you talking about?
Medium.
It's not medium. Look at all that pink.
Yeah, pink. That looks delicious.
It was delicious. It was good.
It was delicious.
No, but I'll listen today. I'll hear what you guys have to say. I don't think I can actually make the stream, but
yeah, it's up to you.
Is this what chef is this? This is your
Chef Paul.
This is like your friend who's a chef?
Chef Paul.
So what are you gonna ask him today?
Dude, you can talk about liquor stores. He used to own a liquor store. He's a chef. Interesting guy.
You should ask him how many people ask for medium well over medium rare.
I will absolutely ask him that.
And I feel like his response might surprise you, because I'm not alone in this.
Oh, he's going to freaking... I got to tell you, he was roasting me the other day because we were talking. It was like 11:30 in the morning. I'm like, man, you know what would be good right now? Cappuccino. He's like, cappuccino? He's like, the only time... He's like, anything after 11 a.m., you drink espresso. Like, he's freaking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't think medium rare is legit, but I guess that's what the majority of the world eats. I'm not vegetarian.
You're not a vegetarian. And I will, this is what I'm going to tell everybody. So we're sitting there freaking lunch. We both order appetizers, both order steaks.
No, you ordered an appetizer. I didn't have an appetizer. You had the
You
shrimp.
ordered mac and cheese. What are you talking about?
That's not an appetizer. Dude, that's what you eat with a steak.
That's an appetizer.
No, I ate it with the steak. I don't eat that.
No, but that's an appetizer. We got the garlic mash to go with the steak. Anyway.
I think that is a side, not an appetizer, but that's okay.
Anyway, you ordered the mac and cheese. You ate half your steak, and then you wanted to get 2 desserts. Like, you legitimately wanted to get 2 desserts, and I bet you would have finished both of them.
I wanted to get 2 desserts because I thought we would each have dessert.
I can't do dessert during the day.
So I picked the chocolate cake over the tiramisu, and it was delicious. And I finished it way quicker than I finished my steak. That's for sure.
I used to be like that.
Uncle Jack's is legit, dude. It was a really good.
So good.
I felt it was better than Ben and Jack's. I'm sorry. That steak was
100%.
Yeah, typical child behavior.
100%. It's just so far from my office, but it is so worth the walk. It is so good.
Yeah, it was far. I didn't know it was that far from you. Like, you had to walk a minute to get there.
Yeah. It was a good 20, 25-minute walk.
All right, so NVIDIA 200s. I mean, dude, if it falls below 200 tomorrow, which of course is possible, it'll be like whatever. But if it,
Right.
if it
Who's
spends the next-
reporting? How about this? Who's reporting tomorrow?
all the companies that buy from Nvidia.
Right.
So, you know, to be honest, that's probably another reason why it ran today, because everyone's anticipating all of them.
They're trying to front run it.
They're trying. Like, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, that's a basic reason for why they ran.
How about Nvidia could be 220 at the end of the week?
Okay, I don't know who spiked your milk with all this bullish momentum. Like, I get it; it was a good day, but that would imply $350 billion of market cap added.
Right. And they added freaking, it's up how much today? $10. How much market cap did they add today?
240.
Yeah. So you tell me in 3 more days they can't add another freaking 3?
360.
Think about it.
360 plus
We haven't even heard
that would be 600 billion added in a week, bro.
I mean, Amit, think about it. Jassy and Sindar have been radio silent. Radio silence.
Well, you think they're going to announce something big?
How don't they? Think about it. Zuck comes out with 27 billion data center. OpenAI comes out with the 26 gigawatts of freaking chips. Microsoft comes out with this announcement. What are they going to do? Not announce anything?
That's true. They haven't really made a deal with Google. You're right. They haven't said much with Google. Dude, I mean, look, if NVIDIA's partnered with all these companies and they haven't really announced something with Google yet, then maybe that's what's going to happen.
Pretty crazy.
All right, there you go. Pretty incredible day. And hopefully this can continue. If you want to check out Steve's stream tonight, I'm putting his YouTube in the portfolio, in the chat.
Portfolio.
I should put your YouTube in the portfolio. It's growing like crazy.
Dude, AK Media should just buy me out.
Steve is 1,000 away from 10K. So for those that, first of all, he doesn't only do like steak content or food content.
No, we do stock market, but sometimes we get a little crazy and we talk about steaks and cookies and all this other stuff. And, you know.
Yeah, so you can definitely subscribe, and there's a lot of good content that's there, and a lot of important stock market stuff as he's doing a lot more previews for earnings and all that stuff. Are you going to be here earnings tomorrow or no?
I'm working tomorrow. I got a ton of shit to do.
Okay, so no earnings from you tomorrow.
Maybe when I get home. But Thursday I took off.
Thursday is Apple and Amazon. Okay, cool.
So I'll do Amazon with you. And we got alternative assets.
We got alternative assets as well. There you go. So yeah, you can subscribe to Steve's channel. Again, fastest to grow to 10K ever. So very incredible to see. And also Seeking Alpha, I'm putting in the chat. He did a SoFi article. So for those that are interested in that, you can read that.
I'm actually interested if people actually want to read the article. I'm interested what people think, because this is the first time I really did a deep dive on the financial services productivity loop. And it's interesting.
Milk to Steve.
Gavin, look at this. Gavin Newsom is furious. Joe Rogan won't have him on. Oh, okay.
Wait, Joe Rogan said he won't have Gavin Newsom on?
Oh, there's beef with it. You didn't see him talking to Callan about it?
No.
Oh, yeah. Gavin Newsom just called Rogan the Facebook of podcasting.
What?
Yeah. It was on CNN.
Oh, hold on. I got the clip. We got to see the clip. By the way, thanks for the super chat. FNG says milk to Steve is like OpenAI to the market. I can't disagree with that. I
Can't disagree with what?
Milk to Steve is like OpenAI to the market.
Dude, I got milk running through the veins.
He won't look. He hasn't for years and years. He's been attacking me, and it's one way, and he won't have me on. He's consistently not having me on. By the way, I'm moving on. I have no interest. You're done with him. Joe Rogan's the Facebook of podcasting. He was sitting across one of the brightest minds in podcasting right now. The guy was in the mic, and there are a lot of people at the mic doing extraordinary things. In podcasting.
Joe Rogan's got a pretty big audience still.
You know what? But with all due respect, if he has a big audience but he doesn't have big enough confidence, I didn't go there, to have me on.
Well, you've called him a chicken.
But
Yeah.
he's been attacking for.
So-
But here's the thing: these guys, they all have something in common. It's one way. They attack, they belittle, they demean, they take things out of context. But this is a serious thing.
Yeah.
And so often we just sit back and go, oh, God, I really would love to go on. Oh, if Kamala Harris just went on Joe Rogan, she would have won. It's not. It's so much deeper than that. And the unwillingness for a guy like that to even have the common courtesy to attack someone and not have the decency to say, you know what, why don't you have a chance to come on? Let's have a civil dialogue. I've watched you on podcasts with like Sean Ryan, who's a close buddy of his. He had the courage on me have 4 hours.
Right.
Sean Hannity, folks like that. And so if I can go on Sean Ryan and Sean Hannity, what are you worried about? What are you, Joe, you're going to cook me or I'm going to cook myself.
You need find the clip where what Rogan said. That'll blow you away.
I mean, they're probably going to go back and forth. I think I have the clip that Rogan has said. Dude, the thing is, it's either going to be Newsom or AOC for 2028. I really don't know who else the Democrats can put up, and obviously Newsom thinks it's going to be him. So. It's going to be Newsom, right? Like that's like there's no one like.
Has to be.
I don't know who else they could possibly put up there.
If I had to handicap it, it's going to be Newsom and it's going to be JD Vance.
Yeah.
They don't have any faith in Gavin Newsom.
Oh, yeah.
Which is kind of funny because he wants to be president so bad.
That's sure what it looks
But
like.
you can't ruin a city and then go on to ruin a state and say, guys, that was just practice.
I know.
Once I get it as a president, I'm going to fix it. Fix it all.
I mean, it's so crazy, but he's such a great politician. I mean,
No,
he's
not.
so smooth.
He's
Oh,
not,
you don't think
though.
so?
No, I think he's terrible.
How's
It's
he
just-
remained
it's
in
because
power
he
for
has
so long?
Low competition. There's no one who's
there's
good
that.
is competing against him.
I
There's
guess
no
there-
sincerity.
I should say he's not a good. I should say he's smooth. He comes.
I
across
mean,
pretty
he's
smooth.
a good bullshit artist.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But it's like what the things that he says when he gets confronted with things. We're the highest this and the highest that. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
like everybody's leaving.
Yeah.
You have the highest unemployment.
Yeah.
You have the highest homelessness.
Look what they did with Hollywood. You had-
Money's missing. You killed Hollywood.
I
Like
know.
Hollywood doesn't exist anymore. It's literally gone.
That was
You
such an easy one.
mandated vaccines for kids that didn't need them. You guys, he did horrible shit. They don't have any.
What I find interesting about it is I would personally like to see the conversation because Rogan left California.
Yeah. That's true. I think it would be a very important conversation given.
I would
got
love
someone
to see the conversation.
I do think it's going to be Newsom or AOC who's going to be running for 2028 for the Democrats. I just got Devin Ryan's SoFi report after earnings. Dude, this guy is so scared to give a price target. Price target, NA.
I don't
What
think,
more?
well,
do you-
I can't.
I really respect him as an analyst. He gave SBET a $50 target. You can't give SoFi a target? That's weird, bro. This goes to Tanner's point that the institutional guys, they hate SoFi. I'm not saying he hates SoFi. He's bullish. But, like, he can't put his name associated with a number, which is not that hard to do if you just project the earnings, because they don't want to be accountable for a number. But it's this type of stuff that's like, it's hard sometimes for SoFi to catch a bid when these guys just can't tell their clients, hey, we think it's going to 50. Buy it. But it looks like he's pretty bullish after.
I mean, how could you not be after that report?
I really thought he didn't have a price target since 18. I thought finally he would put up a price target. But you don't have it. All right, that is it. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Steve will be streaming at night, so you can check him out on his stream. And yeah, tomorrow will be a big day, guys. I'll be live the whole day. Market open. We're going to have some guests join the show before FOMC at 2:30. And then at 4 p.m., it's going to be madness. Like, it is going to be absolute madness with Meta, Microsoft, and Google. And we're going to see if these guys can really put up the numbers. So there you go. Yeah, I think Red Cat CEO will be on. I think Chad from Palantir will be on as well. I think we'll have a couple of people that hop on. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Congrats, everyone. Great day. NVIDIA. Really nice to see the Palantir partnership. Overall, NVIDIA increasing these projections, helping the entire sector, 203.89. And now we just got to get these earnings and hopefully a rate cut tomorrow to keep this going. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. See you
Later,
tomorrow.
everyone. Probably 9 p.m. I'll probably be going on. So,
All right. Bye, everybody.
later, everyone.